spotlight with a judge accusing health officials of trying to get around his previous order temporarily blocking that law. Today, the judge blocking a state rule that would prevent transgender people from changing the gender on their birth certificate. That rule recently adopted by the state health department. America is listening to Fox News.
Dell Technologies' semi-annual sale has arrived, and it's time to upgrade to the latest business technology. Save big on laptops and desktops with Windows 11 Pro. Plus, get amazing deals on server, storage, and cloud solutions, as well as top work accessories, including docks, monitors, and more. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL for special business offers during our semi-annual sale.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Our high temperature this afternoon, much like yesterday, hovering around 85 degrees, plenty of sunshine, still pretty comfortable to be out there, even though these are above average temperatures. Tonight, partly cloudy, 59. Friday, sunny and 88. Good-looking weekend coming up. Any rain should stay well to our north. Saturday, sunny and 89. Same story on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You're listening to St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
As our president made clear in Philadelphia last week, the threats we face as a nation are great. Threats to our freedom, threats to our very democracy.
What they mean as semi-fascist, and of course, Democrats redefine words all the time, they're basically saying, if you do not agree with our political positions on anything, you are a semi-fascist.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
Making sure you're in your comfort zone. Well, yeah, that's Air Comfort Service. They've helped the Frey family on a host of different issues. And as we move through September, midway in the September month right now, you're probably thinking furnace is just around the corner. Make sure that you have reached out to Air Comfort Service, or simply that you put this number in your phone for when the situation arises and you want to give them a call. It might be just to do the tune-up on your furnace and to make sure that they come out, do any maintenance that is needed to keep you from having to pay for those costly repairs. Or maybe you know your furnace is not in the shape it needs to be and you are considering replacing it. Residential and commercial, Air Comfort Service can help you with this. And they're part of the Annie Frey Show family. They're part of the 97.1 FM Talk family. Very valued part of it. And I highly recommend that you do business with them because they have supported Free Talk Radio here. 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. Give them a call. Let them know you heard about them on the Annie Frey Show. You can find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
If you filed a tax extension in April, don't wait until it's too late to handle your tax issues. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm. Every year, thousands of Missourians file extensions when their taxes are due in April. But what people don't know is the extension only moves your deadline to file your return, not to pay your taxes. So if you didn't pay anything back in April, you could now owe taxes plus interest plus penalties. You think you bought yourself time, but really you've just added to the total bill. If this sounds like you, call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. I am a local tax attorney with an A+ BBB rating, and I will meet with you right away to help handle your tax problems quickly. The deadline to file your return after an extension has already passed, so call the Lance Drury Law Firm now before it's too late. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. Call attorney Lance Drury, 314-260-6120, or go to lance.drurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Have you been waiting for the perfect time to get your Missouri medical marijuana card? Today is the day at 420id.com. Dispensaries are open and inventory is in. 420id.com is a BBB accredited business with over 16,000 happy Missouri patients. If we can't approve you, you pay nothing at 420id.com. Open late every day until 9 p.m. Sign up for your Missouri medical marijuana card now at 420id.com and use promo code RADIO for $30 off today.
Would you like a cleaning product that can be used in the garage, the laundry, and the kitchen, and save space in your cabinet? Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green. To learn more, visit us at simplegreen.com.
Need a break from the sound bites and the talking heads? Do you want information you can actually use? Information that'll change your life for the better? Then listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
Odyssey.com is a universe of audio, and it's where you can download the app to stream 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it today and stream anytime from anywhere. Where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on a Saturday, and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I've not been in favor of it. If even one of these people wins their election, it obviously invalidates the entire strategy. And it's incredibly scary because one of these elections could be a Carrie Lake. It could be Doug Mastriano.
She is going to win. I agree.
She's great.
Well, in Arizona.
She's great.
She's great.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you say that sarcastically, but you have no evidence on why she isn't. I think she's incredibly persuasive. Carrie Lake, we're talking about the same person, right? Running for
governor.
Exactly. You're acting like she is a monster. No, but you're acting like she's a monster or something.
I do think people who don't function in the same reality the rest of us do, where Joe Biden is the legitimate president of the United States of America.
You know, Hillary Clinton did that for 4 years.
Exactly. Actually, she conceded and gave her concession speech.
She did. But then she continued to complain. And then the Russians were involved. But in any event, it's
Russians were
rocks, liberals.
This is the Annie Frey Show. That was the 5 yesterday. Yeah. It's funny that you put that clip on this sheet here today, Brad, because I had a conversation, went to the Cardinals game last night, got to see the Waino Molina 325th start together. Good Cardinals game last night. And it came up at the event in the suite. Someone's like, "Oh, did you see this?" And I was like, "No, I haven't been home. I didn't get to see it yet." And listening to that, you know what the most interesting thing to me about that is, Brad, is that one side makes the point and the other side goes, "What?" And then there's a counterpoint, and then the other side goes, "Huh?" As if you're the dumbest person I've ever heard. That's not true. But they just take turns living in separate realities and slapping each other around.
Well, yeah, and too, like you hear it, it's like, well, that's different because our person is different, and they had good reasons for doing it. It's like, well, maybe the other person has good reasons for saying what they're saying.
Yeah, it's true that Hillary Clinton did not accept the results of the election. And I don't know, gosh, who was it just the other day was talking about how Hillary, it is such revisionist history. It's so annoying because you know it's not true. Her book was called What Happened? And then she explained how it was stolen from her. She wrote a book on it. You can go get it at the library right now. It's in the fiction section. It's so ridiculous. And Jessica Tarloff, God love her. Or in the South, they say, bless her heart. She is a liberal who goes on Fox News and sits. I mean, if you're a liberal and you go, let me ask you this question, Brad. If you're the liberal sitting on the panel on the 5, is that the same thing as being the conservative on The View?
No.
Okay, why?
I don't think that they disdain her. I don't think that the other 4 on that set look at her as a complete moron and the worst human being to ever walk the face of the planet. I think if you went on to, did you say The View?
Yeah, I didn't. I try not to.
But if you're the lone conservative on The View, you to them are literally the worst human being to ever have walked the face. Yes, you're the embodiment of evil that is the Republican Party to them.
Yeah, I feel like they genuinely like Jessica Tarloff as a human. She had a baby recently. They were very kind to her about that. I mean, like, what's the alternative? I don't know. Watch The View. I don't. you listen to what she's saying in that clip about, like, the first thing this is the other thing. And I like to look at these conversations that take place on cable news, not really for the substance of what each person is arguing. I like to dissect the science and the path of the argument. You've got two sides. Generally speaking, especially if you're on Fox News, like I'm here to say that Fox News is a network that's put together to attract conservative viewers and people who want to see what conservatives say or think. I know for a fact that I have people who listen to the show who are staunchly Democrat, very liberal, very progressive, and they listen to the show because I'm the one who provides them the opportunity to see what the other side thinks without making them want to claw their eyes out. I'm grateful for that, because what I want to do on this show on 97.1 FM Talk is explain my perspective. And then you can take it with whatever you want. I don't care if I change your mind or not. I mean, like, it'd be great if you were like, oh, Annie, you're brilliant. I agree with everything you say. But that is unrealistic. So that's not the goal here. On Fox News, you're going to get people who ask questions that the end game is with a majority conservative audience. It's a big audience, but the majority conservative audience. So having Jessica Tarloff on there, or Juan Williams, or any of the other people who would fill that extra seat on the 5, I like that they're there because they do make points that represent the other side. And then the phrase, Michael, who comments on our Facebook page here on a regular basis, disagrees with everything I say.
Everything.
And he said the other day that this is his favorite show, and the follow-up sentence was iron sharpens iron. High five, Michael.
Yeah, he gets it.
That's America. I appreciate these leftists. I don't hate them. Like Geraldo, he's like non-binary when it comes to politics. I don't really know where Geraldo is on any particular issue. I don't really need to know where he is on a particular issue. I think would you say he's more left?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he is. He's left. And he's just like, in some areas, he's very progressive. In other areas, though, he's kind of center right. He's really weird to
I am always interested in
down
what he's going to say, because I don't know what he's going to say. Tyrus comes on the show, and every once in a while, he has a view that's maybe not as conservative as yours is. But we like to listen to those perspectives and listen to what he has to say. Tyrus will be on with us at 1 o'clock, and we will have a conversation with him like we do every Thursday at 1:05. Keep it here. If you listen to this argument between these, I guess it's 3 people, Jessica Tarloff, who's the Democrat, Gutfeld, and Judge Jeanine. If you listen to the way this conversation goes, nobody ever really, I'll listen to it again with you, and I'll maybe reassess my question. But Jessica Tarloff throws Kari Lake's name out there.
Yes.
And when she does, Brad, you're supposed to assume all the same things about Kari Lake that she is assuming.
Yeah. When you listen to it, there's a very distinct pause after Gutfeld responds, where she's like, wait.
Like, we don't say it out loud, do we? But that is how most political arguments go. This is a really, really key point, folks. If you are having political conversations with your friends, especially if, God willing, you're talking to people in your life who matter more to you than their politics matter to you, but that you're actually having a conversation with somebody where at the end, if you disagree, that's okay. Or you are each willing to understand where the other one is coming from. That doesn't mean that you agree at the end. Here's what you have to do. Don't allow any assumptions to be made, ever. If somebody goes, oh, well, you know Kari Lake, you can say, well, I do know Kari Lake, but you explain to me, when you're saying that, what does that mean to you? And don't be like, don't punch them in the face while you do it, but let them say it out loud. And then put yourself in a position where, before you go into the point about what dropping Kari Lake's name was supposed to be the dunk in the conversation that was supposed to end the game, make sure that you're not fighting past each other, because the assumptions that you're bringing to the conversation are wildly different. Abortion is a perfect example, which is why I always encourage you, if you are in a position to engage in a conversation about abortion rights and right to life, make sure that you, with the person who disagrees with you on both sides, folks, that you understand the most important concept of when does life begin?
Yes.
Because some people might say life doesn't begin until that baby is outside of the woman's body. And if that's their firm belief, you're probably not going to, bludgeon them into changing their thoughts and opinions on it. You can say things and provide information, but I wouldn't count on them changing their mind on the idea of where life begins. And if you say, well, I think life begins at conception, and the other person says, absolutely not. If one of you believes life begins at conception and another one believes that the baby has to be completely through the birth canal, and folks, partial birth abortion means that baby comes partially out. They snip the spine, they kill the baby, they deliver the rest of it, and that's okay. Check the Illinois abortion code and partial birth abortion. You will be disgusted. If one party believes that partial birth abortion is okay, and yes, people do advocate for partial birth abortion, and the other party believes that life begins at conception, and you're trying to figure out in between there when abortion should be legal and not legal, you're not having the same conversation. You will never come to a compromise or conclusion. Ever. So set the terms. Have the conversation about when life begins. And if you can't agree on it, I would just concede from that point on. I don't think that we are going to come to a common understanding on this. And if you care about that person, move on to a different conversation and double your advocacy somewhere else. Listen to the way this conversation goes back and forth between Greg Gutfeld, Jessica Tarloff, and Judge Jeanine. And when she throws out the name Carrie Lake, she makes the assumption that everybody's going to understand. And I don't really, Jessica Tarloff is actually smarter than this. But what conservatives don't normally do is say, wait, stop. Explain to me what you mean about Carrie Lake. I think Carrie Lake is great. And then you put the ball back in their court and give them an opportunity to defend what they just said. Generally speaking, they have a hard time doing it. Listen again.
I've not been in favor of it. If even one of these people wins their election, it obviously invalidates the entire strategy. And it's incredibly scary because one of these elections could be a Carrie Lake. It could be Doug Mastriano.
She is going to win. I agree.
She's great.
Well, in Arizona.
She's great.
She's great.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you say that sarcastically, but you have no evidence on why she isn't. I think she's incredibly persuasive. Carrie Lake, we're talking about the same person, right? Running for
governor in Arizona.
Exactly. Yeah, you're acting like she is a monster. No, but you're acting like she's a monster or something.
I do think people who don't function in the same reality the rest of us do, where Joe Biden is the legitimate president of the United States of America.
Hillary Clinton did that for 4 years.
Exactly. Actually, she conceded and gave her concession speech.
She did. But then she continued to complain. And then the Russians were involved. But in any event,
the Russians were
liberals.
It's a spiral. The only thing that is proven there is that the assumptions that Jessica Tarloff brings to the table from her liberal point of view are not acceptable as a launching point on discussing the validity of a Carrie Lake election in Arizona. And folks, Arizona gets to pick. Arizona gets to say, yeah, we're going this way. We're not going the other way. And like they're all saying, Carrie Lake is going to win. I don't know what happens to Jessica Tarloff after Carrie Lake wins. I don't know if she turns inside out. I don't know what happens. Pay attention to how people argue, because the reason why we don't ever get anywhere is because we've made all the assumptions about everybody else on the other side of the argument. We've made a lot of assumptions. We use a lot of talking points. I try very, there are things that I don't talk about on this show. We had a discussion about a specific issue today, Brad and I did, about whether we were going to have a conversation about something or not. And I said, I'm really just not educated enough on this specific issue to go on the air and be like, this is what I think, because everything I would have said about that would have been talking points that, honestly, truthfully, you probably wouldn't know that I'm talking in talking points that way. But if somebody were going to be in here to challenge me on it, on that particular issue, I wouldn't have been able to swat down accusations with, facts that would be thrown back at me on that particular issue. So the solution to that is I don't talk about that issue with a firm stance on the air until I have educated myself in a way that formulates my opinion, not because the talking points say so, but because I've looked at the facts and here's my perspective. Maybe at the end, my perspective matches the talking point, but it's going to have to get there on my own work, not because, well, I've heard all these Republicans and conservatives saying this. Well, that's what I'm going to say. I'm not doing that. I'd rather educate myself on the specific topic or move in a different direction because I don't get talking points from anybody. Nobody ever tells me what to say. I have never been told I had to talk about something here. I've never been told I'm not allowed to talk about anything here. I mean, Brad, you can verify. We're kind of like swimming in this big ocean on our own, and we watch the news and we share tweets and articles back and forth, sometimes nearly 24 hours a day. Sorry, that's on me. And we choose the direction this show goes. And if I'm going to talk about it on the air, I'm either going to be well studied on it or open with you and say, I'm not really an expert here. And that's usually when we bring in experts.
Mm-hmm. That's when we try to find a Hans von Spakovsky or somebody to come in and explain what it is we don't understand.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Hans von Spakovsky. And we're going to talk to him about a lot of these recent, what seem to be politically charged investigations. People who support the wrong party or the wrong guy seem to be getting visits by the FBI. What does Hans von Spakovsky know about this? And should you be concerned down the road if you support the wrong guy? We'll talk to Hans about it when we come back. In today's YouTube live chat poll, is marriage valued in today's society? Yes or no? Go to the Annie Frey YouTube live chat and leave us a vote. And if you are so inclined, leave us a comment with some marriage advice. I'd love to hear from people who are very experienced or brand new to it. We'll be back in a minute. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. So needless to say. 97.1, your continuing home of free speech in St. Louis. It's free and fair. 97.1 FM Talk. Keep it locked in right here. The place for discussion. The place for ideas.
Slim 180 online at myslim180.com. 30% savings right now if you hurry over to myslim180 or you give them a call at a location that is close to you. You can find all the locations and contact at myslim180.com. 30% off their nutritional guidance programs. Think about how quickly, let's see, a month's time in doing the HCG program with Slim 180, I lost 22 pounds in a month. So think about what you weigh right now and how much weight you have to lose. Now, you're not necessarily going to lose 22 pounds. You might lose more than 22 pounds. If you only have 15 to lose, maybe you'll lose 10, whatever. But think about 30 days from now, mid-October, before Halloween, and you've dropped that amount of weight. Don't put it off any longer. Don't wait. Don't think, maybe I'll check that out later. If you have it in you that you want to finally drop the weight that you've been carrying around, causing your knees to ache, causing your back to ache, your feet to ache, just genuinely making you feel uncomfortable and unhealthy, call Slim 180. They can help you. They help me. And I hope that you give them the chance to help you achieve your goal as well. You can find them online at myslim180.com.
Darren Bailey isn't popular with the political establishment of either party because he's from the real world.
I'm proud to be a family farmer. We get up before the sun comes up and we work until after it goes down. We fix things that are broken. We solve problems and we grow things. And I love to remind people what farmers do. They feed the world.
Like you, Bailey knows what hasn't worked.
Decade after decade of mismanagement in Springfield, back-to-back billionaire governors, and where has that gotten us?
Bailey got involved in state politics by opposing the income tax increase signed by the previous Republican governor, and then led the opposition to the income tax increase proposed by the current Democrat governor, because high taxes are driving families from Illinois. We tried billionaires from both parties. They left us with high taxes, high unemployment, and high crime rates. How much worse does it have to get before we give a practical problem solver a try? Paid for by people who play by the rules pack.
You know, the heat doesn't matter. The rain doesn't matter. When it gets cold in a few months, the snow and sleet won't matter to the outside of my house because I have Rhino Shield. You've heard me say that before, but I'm just telling you, 15 years ago, before I was on this radio station, that's a long time ago, I signed up for Rhino Shield. Darren came over. He showed me this great product. I'm like, why would I worry about painting every couple of years when I could do this? And I did it. And I'm just as happy today as I was the day that I made that decision all those years ago. And I've still got 10 years left on a 25-year warranty. Think about that. How many products can you buy where you get that kind of guarantee? Call Darren and let him come over and give you a free estimate. If you're thinking about painting, stop. Put Rhino Shield on instead. 877-25-RHINO is the phone number. Still plenty of time to get scheduled for this summer, or go online to find out more at 877-25rhino.com.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
SharonKelly.com.
I've been reading books of old, the legends and the myths, Achilles and his gold, Achilles and his gifts, Spider-Man's control, and Batman with his fist. And clearly I don't see myself upon that list. But she said, where'd you wanna go? How much you wanna risk? I'm not looking for somebody with some superhuman gifts, some superhero, some fairy tale bliss, just something I can turn to, somebody I can kiss. I want something just like this.
But to see this now used against high-level officials, Trump lawyers, and certainly this is the whole goal of the subpoena. They're not talking about January 6th in the outlines of the subpoena. They're talking about internal communications about the 2020 election and plans to contest the outcome in certain states. Of course, that's not a crime. None of this ever had anything to do with January 6th. It was always to criminalize political dissent and intimidate the Republican base of Trump voters.
So you've been hearing a lot of stories recently about investigations, the FBI showing up at people's doorsteps and looking into their whereabouts on January 6th, maybe people who have been on the record as saying they weren't there. It seems as though if you're a public supporter of Donald Trump, that you have publicly put yourself in a position to potentially be investigated by the FBI. One more clip from Mike Davis of the Article 3 Project talking about this specific issue.
This is scary stuff, Laura. We started out where they were going after Trump for non-crimes of keeping his presidential records at Mar-a-Lago. Now they're going after his supporters. They're going after his supporters for apparently the non-crime of questioning an election. You have to have a predicate crime in order to have grand jury subpoenas and warrants. What's the crime they're investigating? Questioning the election. We're not a third world Marxist hellhole yet. I'm not understanding how the Biden Justice Department thinks that they can investigate these as crime.
So those are the questions that Americans have right now is, well, who's the Justice Department targeting? Are they targeting people, or are these valid investigations by the FBI? Well, let's talk to our legal expert about it, the senior legal fellow from the Heritage Foundation, DOJ lawyer and former FEC commissioner, Hans von Spakovsky. Hans, welcome back to the show. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So I just want to give you the opportunity to weigh in on the highlights of what you've seen. A lot of stories coming up in the last week or so about some of these investigations that seem to be politically targeted. Do you agree that is happening, or do you see it differently?
Well, what I see is that so far the Justice Department has not justified, and neither has the FBI, issuing all these subpoenas to all of these close advisors and supporters of the president. And, you were playing a clip earlier of someone saying, look, you can't convene a grand jury unless you have evidence of a crime. Well, what crime are they investigating? The fact that someone said, well, I'm not sure I agree that the election was fair and honest, that's not a crime. It's not a crime whatsoever to question the outcome of an election. And yet that seems to be the only basis that the FBI has for issuing subpoenas. Unless they can come forward and justify it and explain what crimes they think possibly could be committed that they have evidence of, what are we supposed to conclude other than this is partisan political weaponization of the Justice Department?
Hans, I think back to our conversations in the time in between the election in 2020 and really, I suppose, the inauguration. I asked you multiple times about the questioning, the slating of the electors. I don't even know if I'm using the terminology well. And you were saying that the suggestion of how this could play out and for things to be decertified, that wasn't actually constitutionally based. And I think there was so much confusion in the national conversation that I still think a lot of people don't really understand what happened. And then the problem of January 6th, some will call it an insurrection. I watched it happen in real time because it took place during my show, and it was jaw-dropping and it was sad. And I thought it was really, really scary to see all these people moving into the Capitol building. All the conversation before January 6th, it never was ironed out. All those wrinkles still exist. And I want to give you the opportunity to talk about what took place leading up to that moment and the constitutionality that existed on the potential to do anything, and kind of revisit our conversations there.
Well, look, I agree with you. What happened in the Capitol should not have happened. But what I saw was criminal trespassing. I didn't see any evidence of an insurrection. And in fact, not a single individual of all the people arrested has been charged with insurrection, which is a federal crime. There's a statute. No one's been charged with insurrection. They've been charged with, assault on police officers, criminal trespassing, but not a single person has been charged with insurrection. The fact that there was an effort going on to come up with potential names for alternate electors in case the election results were decertified in particular states, again, that's not a crime. That is not a basis for the federal government to be subpoenaing individuals because, again, I don't know of any federal statute says anything about that. And in fact, if a state legislature had decertified the election, which they had the power to do, then they would have called for an alternate slate of electors. So again, the Justice Department, this seems like a political investigation not tied to any federal statutes.
So we're getting comments here on our live stream and there's a suggestion. Here's by Edward. He said, what's the argument here? That some people should be immune from investigation because they're involved in politics? I would say, Hans, that you shouldn't be extra susceptible to investigation because your politics align a certain way. And right now in this country, it does feel like if you are on the right side of the aisle, that you are prone to being investigated or targeted more than if you were on the left.
Well, that's what it looks like. And what Edward is getting wrong is no one's immune from investigation. But as I said before, and I keep repeating, the federal government, particularly the FBI, has no right to investigate you unless they have probable cause to believe that you have committed a crime. To commit a crime, they have to point to a specific federal statute, criminal statute, that you have violated. And so far, I haven't seen the FBI or the Justice Department point to any specific federal criminal statute that they believe these folks violated.
We're speaking with Hans von Spakovsky, Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. What is one to do? If the FBI shows up at their doorstep, I saw on Tucker Carlson a few nights ago, one of the women who was representing some of these individuals who are on trial for their involvement in the January 6th situation had people show up and say they got an anonymous tip that she was present on January 6th. She says she wasn't. They showed up on her doorstep to ask her questions about whether she was. What are people supposed to do if they being present on January 6th at the nation's capital versus being in the Capitol, big difference there. All the details that are discussed in the national media, on Twitter, and social media, all the details don't matter. There's been a very strong distinction that's been made. If you're a Republican, you're pro-insurrection, you love Donald Trump, and you hate democracy. And then somewhere in the midst of that, people start getting investigated by the FBI. It's just very all confusing.
It's not a crime to express your political opinions, okay? And my advice to anyone, if the FBI shows up at your door to question you, is don't answer any of their questions. Be very polite and say, give me your card, give me your name, and my lawyer will contact you. And you immediately get a lawyer, and you don't speak to the FBI until you've consulted with a lawyer, and you have a lawyer present in any interview. And most importantly, any interview you do, you record it with your lawyer, because FBI agents don't record any interviews, which means they just do summaries, which means later on down the road, they might charge you with lying to a federal agent based on what? Their recollection and their version of what they think you said. So do not speak to any FBI agents. Get a lawyer, talk to your lawyer, get your lawyer's advice on what to do. Because these days, given what I've seen, I just don't trust FBI agents to do the right thing.
Last question before we let you go is about Donald Trump and the special master and the agreeing upon that. What is the status of the investigation into Trump, the raiding of Mar-a-Lago, and that appointment of the special master?
Well, we don't know. The special master is supposed to go through and look through all the documents that were seized and figure out what the government is allowed to have and what they should have and should be returned to the president. But how the documents that DOJ is going to get to keep, how that will play into whatever criminal investigation they're conducting. And again, we're not sure of it. We don't know. And we're just going to have to wait and see what justice does.
Hans, we appreciate you, and we look forward to talking to you each week. We'll look forward to talking to you again next week. Thanks for being here with us.
Sure thing. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I specifically on this show, while a lot of people were asking questions about what was going to happen during that time, I said repeatedly that Joe Biden was going to be the president. I think I made some people mad when I did that. I got some response from people, but I just felt like this is the way this was going. It wasn't going to be overturned. I wanted people to understand that any sort of emotional connection that they had in that moment in time to thinking that something was going to be overturned, that wasn't how this was going to go. It's not how I saw it. I was telling people Joe Biden is going to be president, Joe Biden. And it was really hard. There was a lot of heartache for a lot of Americans, as there was in 2016 when Hillary lost the election. When Hillary lost, I understand that if you fought and worked and, knocked on doors and helped rally people to support Hillary Clinton to be the president, to be the first woman president, that would have been historic. I think it would have been bad for the country because I think she would have been a terrible president. But a woman being the president, you think that this is going to happen, and then it just doesn't. Out of the blue for so many people, it would take a long time to get over all of the effort and the heartache that you had after that loss. Just like you get your team in the playoffs, it's always sad when they lose. You kind of got to get over that. It's maybe less consequential to you than a presidential election. But there was a lot of heartache when Donald Trump lost in 2020, and people were feeling that. And you had a media out there that was aggressive towards those people in the moment where they were handling a loss. And all of the emotions were stoked. Everybody who was at a fever pitch to begin with, we were turning the heat up on that situation. There's no excusing the behavior of people who went into the Capitol that day. I know people who were on the lawn that day Mark Cox is one of them. He was on the other side of the building and he was on the air with us at the time. And he didn't even know that was taking place. And I was like, Mark, this is what's going on the other side of the building. There were thousands of people there who didn't participate in that. So, I mean, that's my question here. And I'm asking some folks that are on the live chat right now. talking about how, this is a Republican problem. This is a Trump supporter problem. That they are synonymous with insurrectionists. It's just simply not true.
Right.
If you want to say that the rioters that were there on January 6th, the people who were stoking the problem, I think there are a lot of questions to be answered about where the genesis of the decision to move in, how that all manifested itself. But if you're really going to tell me that the people who chose to behave that way reflect 74 million people who voted for Donald Trump in that 2020 election, give me a break.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Give me a break. I said it here, and, I understand the questions that people have out there, but in the end, Joe Biden was going to be the president. That's the way this was going to go down. And I wanted to start formulating immediately, how are we going to beat him in the midterms to stop the bleeding? At that time, it was even like, Georgia, folks, pay attention to Georgia.
Yeah.
We have got to pay attention to Georgia. It would be the worst thing in the world if Joe Biden wins his presidency and we lose 2 seats in Georgia to Democrats. Worst case scenario, manifested. We got to keep our eyes on the prize going forward as well. We have to be able to look forward. We have to think about winning. We have to think about our country. It has to be America first. It's a good phrase. We should abide by it. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Ryan Wiggins and Wiggins America, and we are going to discuss with him what one community is doing to try to engage in the full breadth of emotions and the experience that comes along with this climate we live in right now that involves school shootings. He'll tell us more about that and Wiggins America when we come back. And the YouTube live chat poll: is marriage valued today in today's society? Yes or no? Go give us a vote on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat. We'll be back in a minute.
Rose the suit before he left. But I'm not the kind of
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I'm not looking for somebody with some superhuman gifts, some superhero, some fairy tale bliss, just something I can turn to, somebody I can miss. I want something just like this.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Jane Duker. There was a gentleman, kind of grousing, going through the spiel, and I finally just looked at the guy and said, "Are you really going to vote for Sam Page?"
Jane, I'm happy that after all this time, we finally brought you on board.
I will be voting for Mark Manavani.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
CAJonesInc.com, as I like to refer to it, as CajonesInc.com. Got to spend some time with Mike Needles, the president of CA Jones, last night, and he was talking about the home building industry. If you're looking to buy a home on the Illinois side of the river and you haven't, seen something out there that you want, have you checked CAJonesInc.com out to see some of their spec home builds? They have brand new homes available for you to move in right now. Go give it a look, CAJonesInc.com, and you can see some of these homes that are top energy efficient homes. They come with a HERS rating that shows how efficient the home is. They provide a lifetime waterproof basement warranty and a 10-year structure warranty as well. You can trust the home builders at CA Jones, and you can see beautiful examples of the homes they build on their website, as well as buildable plans that you can look through that you can customize for your needs. Learn everything you need to know about CA Jones by visiting them on their website. Go to CAJonesInc.com.
Red Brick Roofing, wherever you live, from Chesterfield to Crestwood, Frontenac to Ferguson, Lima to Ladue, Town and Country and more. Warson Woods to Winsville, the one you know. Red Brick Roofing, wherever you go. For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof. Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000. Aren't you tired of hearing ads that say they're the best, they're the experts, blah, 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 just one unsubstantiated claim after another? Well, here are 2 substantiated claims that actually mean something if you need roof repair or a new roof. With a family-owned business tradition of over 80 years and 80,000 satisfied customers, you can depend on Frederick Roofing, residential or commercial.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof. Frederick Roofing. Frederick Roofing, 645-2000.
Dell Technologies' semi-annual sale has arrived, and it's time to upgrade to the latest business technology. Save big on laptops and desktops with Windows 11 Pro. Plus, get amazing deals on server, storage, and cloud solutions, as well as top work accessories, including docks, monitors, and more. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL for special business offers during our semi-annual sale.
If you're one of the 100 million Americans who suffer from high blood pressure, this is for you. New Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure is specially formulated for people with high blood pressure. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free and alcohol-free. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is also decongestant-free, unlike some ordinary cold medicines. So look for Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure medicine. Use as directed.
Right now is the perfect time to call Zero-Res to deep clean and refresh your carpets, air ducts, upholstery, and more. Call 314-474-2020. Get the Mark Reardon special. 3 rooms, 0 resified, starting at $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. 474-2020.
People are driving from all over to take advantage of Diamonds Direct's incredible finance offer. For a limited time, you can make any purchase and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Imagine that $4,000 pair of diamond stud earrings for just $68 a month. That $10,000 designer ring for just $168 a month. With this offer, you don't have to compromise. But hurry, this is a limited time offer. 5 years, 0 interest. Start your forever with Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Get details at diamondsdirect.com. Approved credit.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their honor flight today at gslhonorflight.org, and for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Up-to-the-minute traffic reports, so you don't have to keep looking at your phone. Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company, the best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
For a destination, I realized quickly when I knew I should that the world was made up of this brotherhood of man, or whatever that means. Into a constant times when I'm lying in bed just to get it around. Once in love, and I am feeling.
I don't know the words.
How do you not know the words?
I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream at the top of my lungs, what's going on?
Yeah.
I know those words.
You know this?
I know these parts.
Anything to not talk about the news, right?
Yeah.
Woo. St. Louis, what do you want more of? News and politics, or this?
They just want to know what's going on.
And I'm worried that the answer to that question is not really favorable and complimentary of what we do on a regular basis.
Not sustainable.
If you want more of this, I don't know if that means it's that good.
No, I think
might mean that the alternative
it's riding a seesaw, Annie. It's riding a seesaw. Sometimes it goes one way, sometimes it goes the others, and that's what makes it fun, right?
It's like a carousel. It goes up and down and around, circular. You can feel it, feel the flow, feel it.
Doing the barn dance.
Oh,
doing the
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it? It's not doing the barn dance. Feel the flow.
Doing the cowboy. Yeah. Doing because he's riding the bull.
Riding the bull. Yeah, riding the bull.
Is it doing the barn dance? Feeling the flow. Working it.
It's close
working
to that.
it.
You're asking the guy who didn't know the majority of the words of that song to fill in the blank.
I don't know that
good energy.
Those two things aren't like on this. The Venn diagram doesn't necessarily have to connect.
That's true. That's true.
Like, I didn't know any of the words of that song. How would I know the quote you were talking about from Happy Gilmore?
Let me ask you this. Did you know all the words to that song?
I think that if I were in my car alone, that I would feel like I knew all the words, and it's probably more around the 75-80%.
And then once the microphone comes on, you realize that you're a big dumb idiot. You're trying to sing it, and you don't know any of the words.
Well, I mean, when I was singing, I knew what I was singing.
Okay, that's fair.
I was not a big dumb idiot. I was mostly just an idiot.
That's fine. We'll
Big
go with
difference.
that. Wiggins. Oh, Wiggins. Speaking of idiots, here's Wiggins America. All right. So
The most insulting things that are said about you on the show are from
by
you.
me.
Yes.
Mhm. I'm giving you permission to repeat those if you want, though. So
Thanks-
that I can
thanks
then
for the permission
on the
slip,
other
Dad.
side go.
I know your game.
Oh man, that's
Did
so
you hear what
mean.
she said about me?
Uh-huh.
He's doing it all for the sympathy, folks.
That's right. Did it all
Nope,
just like
nope,
Limp
nope,
Bizkit
nope,
said.
nope,
Did it
nope,
all
nope,
for the sympathy.
Nope. Different song.
And this is just not a great topic to transition into.
Terrible
from that.
sentiment.
What's that? The Limp
The
Bizkit
song.
stuff?
I never really thought about it until now. Wish I didn't.
Really? Really? That's.
I didn't spend time thinking about I did it all for the cookie.
Yep. I don't know how you spell that one out much clearer though.
Sesame Street could have parodied that.
Love to see that.
Cookie Monster.
We should do that. You should do Cookie Monster voice and I'll produce it.
I don't know. The Cookie Monster voice. Isn't it just a bunch of like growling and
Yeah. And then me want, and then just fill in the
Oh,
blank.
me want
Cookie, me want, whatever. Vegetables, whatever it's been lately. All right. Here is the big question for Wiggins America, because I stumbled across this and just found it. I don't know. The question is, how does it feel to survive a school shooting? Because there is a Los Angeles theater company that's attempting to convey that experience through immersive theater in a stage-free performance. So they're doing this in elementary schools, but not with kids. They're doing it with adults, and you basically have to buy a ticket to get into it. It places the viewer, you, into the scripted action in order to foster empathy and understanding of what a kid might go through after a school shooting. This is a show it's a show. It closes this weekend, but it's intending, in their words, it's intending to foster understanding, to address not just the trauma of the day of a shooting, but the aftermath of a shooting long after the cameras go away. Do you think this is something that actually would help people? What do you think? I mean, would you go to this? Do you think you could benefit from going to something?
there's a part of my life where I was hyper interested in exposing myself to realities of things that I wouldn't really know otherwise, and I'm past that.
Yeah,
I don't need to. I don't need to know what something is like in its rawest fashion to have sympathy for people who are experiencing that. You know, like I always think it's funny when people hook men up to pregnancy, like things that stimulate contractions and stuff.
it's a great comparison.
Well, like pregnancy, like I actually love the childbirth part of it. I hate the pregnant. It is so difficult. And you don't strap men up to that and be like, oh, here's what a contraction feels like. And they're like, now I know what it's like to be pregnant with, you do not. You've got to deal with uncomfortability. Even if you love it, even if a woman loves it, it is not easy to do. And it's almost self-serving to be like, now I know what you've gone through. I don't think you need to know the worst details of what somebody who served in the military has experienced overseas to appreciate the situation and to put yourself in a position to care for and assist in making a situation better for somebody.
And I think too that there are just some things that are not for you to know. It is not for me to know what it's like to give birth to somebody. It's just not for me to know that. And part of what we need to do as a society is understand that there are things that just are not for us to know.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said it that way, because I was trying to find the sentiment to convey the exact same thing that you're talking about, but without saying it so eloquently. You guys are on the radio. That's very good of you to do that. But
just like the song that we came in with.
well, it was because I'm reading these things and I'm going, well, there's a lot of buzzwords in here, Los Angeles Theater Company and trauma and things that I'm like, okay, initially I'm putting up the wall, but I'm trying to tear it down and go, well, maybe there's something here.
Officer Gary on YouTube says, I think that would be worthwhile. When I taught administrators about active shooter response, I'd always include a session on dealing with aftermath. Let's take an extra minute here and make that work. I think that there is value in this. And we in our society today spend a lot of time telling everybody else what they need to experience so that they can understand.
Yes.
Stop making decisions for other people. If you want to put this together and present this, I think that there are people that could benefit from understanding that horrific situation more. But who am I to determine who those people are? And don't anybody come to me and say, Annie, you need to do this so you can understand. Pound sand.
Yeah. When I hear the word trauma too, that word is so overused now that I had to get past my initial reaction to the word to realize, no, actually, what we're talking about here is real trauma. So there could be real value in this. But I had to read it several times to get really what they're doing. And ultimately, I came back to the fact that this is not a therapy session. This is a show.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of lost respect because they seem to be putting language around it that makes it sound like, well, we're not really doing a show. We're doing this to benefit people. Actually, it sounds to me like when I read the show is called Rise, and it comes from the Hero Theater Group, which and the show closes on September 18th. That's theater language.
Do you trust anybody to put something like that together without having an angle? Like, I'll read Patrick's comment. Valuable as long as it's not biased against gun owners.
Exactly.
Maybe it wouldn't be, but my assumption is going to be you're going to have an angle here. It's going to be super progressive.
Yeah.
But if it's not, then maybe there's value for some people.
You leave the door open to maybe, but
this is where we are on the timeline, folks. Plays to help people understand school shootings. Yikes. Tyrus and Jon Schweppe when we come back.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
This is a great time of the year to upgrade the energy efficiency in your home with my friends at Window World. Mark Cox here to tell you more about my experience with Window World. They replaced a couple of windows at my house. They were just panes of glass. We wanted to be able to get some airflow into the master bathroom. They came out, they gave us a free estimate, and then had the windows at seams installed in no time. Very professional. Lifetime warranty I get, and you get an extra double strength glass on their replacement windows that's not common. So you're getting a great price, simply the best for less. They do front entry doors, rear entry doors if you're looking to replace that back door or sliding glass door in your home. They've got a great selection at Window World. They're also right now offering 18 months, same as cash financing, of course, with approved credit. The preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. 314-993-1800, windowworld.com.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Worried families may get a White House meeting. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Biden expected to meet tomorrow with family members of two Americans jailed in Russia. WNBA star Brittany Griner and corporate executive Paul Whelan. Senior officials tell the Associated Press about the meeting, which the families have long sought. The U.S. said in July it had made a substantial proposal to Russia, which has criticized the U.S. for announcing that. The nation's railroads will keep hauling freight after marathon talks at the U.S. Labor Department to avoid a possible strike at midnight.
I am very pleased to announce a tentative labor agreement that has been reached between the railroad workers and the railway companies. This agreement is a big win for America and for both, in my view.
Senior White House officials say the president made a call last night urging negotiators to get creative and telling them failure wasn't an option. The deal includes more pay, but also aims to address work rules that were sticking points. It still needs approval from union members. The man accused of murdering Memphis teacher Eliza Fletcher is arraigned again on an unrelated rape charge that dates back to last September, less than a year after he was released early from prison.
Cleotha Henderson was released after serving only 20 years of a 24-year sentence, that having to do with a conviction for a third crime. This was the kidnapping of a local attorney back in the year 2000. Court documents obtained by Fox News Digital suggest Henderson received credit for time he had spent in jail prior to his sentencing in the 2000 case, which is required by law.
Fox's Jonathan Seri. Investigators say after his release, Henderson kidnapped and raped a woman at gunpoint, but at the time, police had no suspect. The evidence collected was added to a backlog of rape kits to be tested eventually, leading to Fletcher's indictment in the rape case just last week. America is listening to Fox News.
Dell Technologies' semi-annual sale has arrived, and it's time to upgrade to the latest business technology. Save big on laptops and desktops with Windows 11 Pro. Plus, get amazing deals on server, storage, and cloud solutions, as well as top work accessories, including docks, monitors, and more. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL for special business offers during our semi-annual sale.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Our high temperature this afternoon, much like yesterday, hovering around 85 degrees, plenty of sunshine, still pretty comfortable to be out there, even though these are above average temperatures. Tonight, partly cloudy, 59. Friday, sunny and 88. Good looking weekend coming up. Any rain should stay well to our north. Saturday, sunny and 89. Same story on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Tonight, 97.1 FM Talk is bringing you football. The Kansas City Chiefs are on 97.1 FM Talk. Tonight only. Game time is 7:15. Coverage starts at 7. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs take on the LA Chargers. Listen live tonight with kickoff at 7:15. 97.1 FM Talk. Right here, right now.
If you are looking for a wide selection of engagement and wedding rings or fine jewelry, how about watches? Have you checked out the Diamond Shop? They are in Clayton, Missouri, and they've been serving St. Louis since 1910. These are people who you can rely on. This is a conversation that you can go in and start and say, hey, I heard about you on the Annie Frey show, and I'm kind of thinking I might be interested in buying a ring, or maybe I'm looking for a watch. Now is a good time to go in there. It's the middle of September, so October, November, December. You're about a little over 3 months away from Christmas. Did you know they have 6 months, same as cash? If you want to get something nice for that special someone, if you are looking to get something nice for yourself for this holiday season, go into the Diamond Shop and start the conversation today. If you become a VIP on their website, it's easy to do. You go to thediamondshop.net. You'll have access to special discounts and merchandise through their VIP program. They do custom jewelry and watch repair, appraisals. They also buy gold, and they will serve you and be happy to the next time you come in and visit. You can visit them online at thediamondshop.net.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor, Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
If your house sits on a double lot and you're interested in selling it instead of mowing the extra ground, we're interested in buying it. We've been buying a lot of infill lots throughout the greater St. Louis area, and we're even buying raw ground. So if you have any land you're interested in selling, whether it's a vacant lot, raw ground, or house on a double lot, we're interested in buying it. We even subdivided ourselves. Please reach out. Clayman.com, KLAMEN Group.com, 314-946-9999, 314-946-9999.
Tony La Russa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
With Odyssey music stations, there's a different station for every taste, and they're all free. Listen to 97.1 live on your phone or browse the selection of music stations and make a soundtrack to your workday. It's all at Odyssey.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
And by the way, American manufacturing is roaring back. Just since I've been in office, we've already created 10 million new jobs. More jobs in that time period than any time in American history. Unemployment rate is 3.7%, near a 50% low, a 50-year low. But there's more we can do. But the American people should have confidence that we are on the right track. We're doing all this while cutting the deficit at the same time. Used to always hear from my friends on the other team, yeah, they spend a lot of money and maybe some of it worthwhile, but they're just increasing the deficit. Guess what? First year in office, we reduced the deficit by $350 billion.
You're becoming like my most stable relationship.
Enough said.
I just can't get over the whispering thing. There's yelling, there's whispering, nothing makes sense in between. Tyrus joins us once again. He is a Fox News contributor. You see him on Gutfeld. He's an author of his book, Just Tyrus, a Memoir, and he's with us right now. Tyrus, welcome back.
Always a pleasure.
So, I mean, you've got the president. He's celebrating at the White House, the Inflation Reduction Act. Inflation is up. It's bizarre. He's whispering. How are you handling this?
You know, I don't even listen anymore. It's just garbage, and I hate that. I hate that my president is just spewing out stat numbers that you can argue anywhere. And while it's literally throwing the stock market crash and inflation is higher than it ever been, it looks like it's going to be worse. And the White House is basically cover up what is potentially a back-breaking railroad strike. So, yeah, I'm glad that he's a good time. I also think it's funny that he was driving a gasoline car. So, you know, he's just, and good luck to you in the car, because in the last year and a half, you try to get, let's say, you want to buy a new Suburban for your family, you have an old one, and your old one's worth about $35 on Blue Book. For you to buy a new one, the new one is around $120. So, yeah, you can get a car, but due to inflation, I guess it's for what it's worth. So I guess that's a big party. I guess that's 1.2% higher or some junk like that. But clearly, whenever politicians throw stats, or
yeah, but speaking with Tyrus right now, I think it's easy to close your eyes and cover your ears and look around the world that is your own personal reality and think, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel like things are headed in the right direction. Then if you open your eyes and you uncover your ears, you got a lot of people shouting at you, pointing their finger at the other guy, spending a lot of time offering blame. You don't hear a whole lot of solutions. And I really don't feel like I hear a whole lot of solutions being offered by the Republicans, but maybe the strategy right now to fix things, maybe the only way you win is by making the case that the other guy is just that bad. Is that the cycle we're in?
I agree. I am saying that I'm not hearing solutions from Republicans. If you fall into this mudslinging game, you're not really giving anyone independent a choice or somebody who voted Democrat the year before a viable choice or argument to make to vote the other way. So I'm really concerned with Republicans talking about how bad the other side is, because at the end of the day, we need solutions. We can see what's wrong. We can see what's just anyone who drives around their neighborhood, go down to the street, go to the store, go to the mom and pop shop, see how expensive everything is. So we don't really need anyone to get on a microphone and take up TV time to tell us how bad it is. How about how you're going to fix it? Because that's honestly what it is. Let's say there is a red wave, right? And we get the House and the Senate, and they don't do anything. And then someone who was independent who voted Democrat most of their life might as well just follow them on. So it's a dangerous game Republicans are playing with not getting into solutions and ignoring the noise and giving. So we're telling you, you want to get the American vote right now, you want to get the working class vote right now, they need a blueprint and they need a plan. They don't need anyone else, because no one's listening to lip service anymore.
Speaking with Tyrus right now, he is the co-host of the Tyrus and Timp podcast. You can check that out wherever you get podcasts from. You can follow him on Twitter at Planet Tyrus. I wonder, when I look at the polls that are being reported on today, suggesting that the Democrats are making some headway in the polls as we move 54 days away from that midterm election, do you put any value, any weight in reports on polling at this point in time?
I would probably say they're pretty accurate at this point in terms of, like I said, the Republicans had what I thought was a huge advantage and a huge path. But again, when you fall into name calling and the attacks back and forth, the general public who's not interested in that, who want to hear solutions and stuff, the parents that are fighting school boards, they want to hear solutions, they're not going to be excited to vote across their party if we're not giving them a blueprint. So I think the Republicans are kind of, it's like one of those things where, I hate to mention them because I despise them, but it's like the New York Yankees, man. They had a huge lead and they started coasting, cruising, arresting guys, and next thing you know, the Rays are on their back door. So Red Sox, of course, nowhere to be found. But it just goes to that thing where you get a lead, and if you stick to blueprints, actual plans.
I think we just lost him. Let's see if we can reconnect with him. If we can get him back here, we can try to get a better connection with him. That one was struggling a little bit. Brad, I'll ask you this real quick. Have you seen the polls suggesting
the polls
Democrats are kind of making?
Yeah, I've seen the polls suggesting that they're closing up. You see things like Fetterman out there in Pennsylvania out ahead. Is Ron Johnson behind or whatever?
I think he was polling a little bit behind, but the reports that I'm hearing, this is why polling drives me crazy, is that all of the places where Democrats look like they're making gains right now are the same places that in previous election cycles were like, oh, Democrats are really making gains. Remember when they were like suggesting that, I think it was Mitch McConnell was maybe potentially in trouble, and he won by like 14 or 15 points or something crazy. Susan Collins in Maine, and she won handily. There was a lot of questions behind that. Let's see. I think we got him back here. Sorry about that, Tyrus. We're having some trouble with your connection there.
They got me. They got me. I said too much.
Yeah, it's the helicopters flying.
Got me. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you about the success of Gutfeld, about the attention that continues to grow to that evening show that you have on the air. Lots of people are interested in how you guys are presenting information. Clearly, the information that you are choosing to discuss every night. Why is it continuing to grow?
Well, I can't speak for everybody. For me, I just call it like I see it. I think it's a lot easier to send a message when you believe the message that you're sending. Because last night I wanted to talk about the railroad strike because I'm really concerned about it. And no one bothered. I didn't clear it. I found my avenue and I went into it. So I think that's one of the things. And the huge Emmy victory for us, I think, sent a message across the board. So we turned the late night Emmy into a participation award. So I am so stoked about it because no one wanted that award knowing that they were going to get it. So they gave it to John Oliver and HBO, who I had even forgot was on air.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that as a personal, like I'm literally going to get a trophy made and put on, I think, the year that we turned the Emmys into a participation award. So I think that has a lot to say with viewers and people. They're tired of being told what to think and say. And then not everyone agrees with what I have to say and not everyone likes what I have to say, but I think that's the point.
Yeah, I agree with that. We talked a little bit about the Emmys earlier this week. Maybe it was Monday, and listed off all of the shows that were nominated for those late night comedy shows. And of course, Gutfeld wasn't on there, but you may not have the Emmy, but you actually do have the viewers. I said on the air, and I'll ask you if you agree with this, it would almost kind of suck if you were nominated and won that award, because it's like right into the center lane for Gutfeld and what they report on a regular basis. The idea that the majority of Americans, the people, are tuning in and watching this product, and the mainstream, they're not interested in it, so much so that they just pretend that you don't exist, which is funny because in many ways it's like they don't exist. They don't actually have the audience.
Bigfoot gets more airtime than we do, but that's cool. Listen, I would have been there. I don't know if Greg would have wanted to go or Kat, but I would have been there and I would have walked that aisle to all those boos. And when I went up there and be like, your boos make me feel good because I know what you cheer for.
Yeah.
I would have been for a bad guy in the building, and I would have went over my talking time and then probably give you a shout out and then I'm on my way. But to me, again, I will take real things every day over first world things. So knowing that every night those shows that we already spot 35 million homes to are looking up and are too scared to take the trophy because then they would have to deal with the attack. So they gave it to someone that if we mentioned his name would help him out. So that to me is a huge victory. And that shows that they do hear the American people. They just don't like what they're hearing. And I'm good with that. And we're going to, and as long as they continue to watch and they continue to talk, and it's really cool and I'm enjoying it. And it has a trickle down effect. You were there at my Tyrus live event. I got another one in New Orleans, November 4th, and another one in North Carolina, October 21st, and tickets are going. So I might not be getting that mainstream love, but I'm getting people love, and I'll take that all the time.
Amen to that. We're speaking with Tyrus right now. I've had conversations with you. I've had conversations with other people who are associated with the Gutfeld show, and it comes up. I usually don't ask the question, but the comment usually is made in those conversations that you guys know a lot of people who watch that show who would never publicly come out and be like, Gutfeld was awesome tonight on Twitter. They're not out there saying that they're watching Gutfeld, but prominent people, comedians, people who you wouldn't normally think of being Fox viewers, or especially, Fox comedy show at night viewers, they're actually out there. And I think it's indicative of the entire American community right now, where there's a lot of people, a potential silent majority, I wish they'd be less silent, people who want to maybe exhale a little bit with the news, but they still want to be informed. The temperature and the pressure has turned up so much in a lot of other places.
Yeah, the fear of the woke is actually worse than the woke. But yeah, there's a lot of, and I hate to coin the phrase, but a lot of closet Gutfeld fans. A lot of my friends in the entertainment industry will call me and be like, man, that was funny last night. Hey, you want me to have to come on? No. Keep doing what you're doing, and you know what? That's fine. I get it. It's sad that it has to be that way, but hopefully people are starting to realize that I hate to say I told you so, but when Elon Musk was buying Twitter and they said it was 2.7 bots, I was on the 5 saying, no, it's like 2730. Everyone called me a big dumb wrestler, and lo and behold, looks like I was right. So that means the woke is not as dangerous as you think they are. But little things, little bits here and there, and there's people that come out like, Fatheads came out and they sent us sunglasses and gave me prescription sunglasses. Now I'm that guy in the office. So their prescription, and I just feel really cool. So, but it's coming, it's happening. When I came to St. Louis, I went to Pappy's twice. They were phenomenal. They argued with me about paying my bill. So, I left a huge tip. But so, I mean, the real people show love. And if you work hard and you have a little integrity, that is far more valuable than some award from some person who would literally do a movie produced by Al Qaeda. So, I mean, I'm good with it. I'm fine with it. I can't go to their reindeer games, so I throw my own. And our barbecue is much better.
It definitely shows here. St. Louis did love you right back, and we appreciate you coming here and look forward to having you back again soon. And the people do show up. The people do care, and it may not be the fanciest parties that are taking place in Hollywood, but that's like not the party you actually want to be at anyway. Like you said, these are much better.
I'm not going to get a Sprite commercial, but then again, I don't want kids running out to buy sugar soda. So I'm good with it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Tyrus, we'll talk to you again next week. We love having you here, and we look forward to talking to you again in a few days.
Always a pleasure.
All right, bye-bye. Find his book, Just Tyrus, a memoir. I really highly encourage you read it. I read the thing myself. So did Brad. You can get the audio book, which is how I consumed it. He reads it. And hearing his story and where he came from and how he got to where he is right now is really interesting. It's called Just Tyrus, a memoir, and you can pick it up today. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to speak with Jon Schweppe. He's the director of policy at the American Principles Project. And it turns out that Illinois is one of a few states that the American Principles Project is choosing to invest millions of dollars into their midterm elections, specifically the governor of the state of Illinois. What is it that Jon Schweppe and the American Principles Project sees as worthy of investment there? Well, we'll ask him about that when we come back. Bye-bye.
So show me family, all the blood that I will bleed.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
I don't know where I will
Find the
go.
podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
I belong with you, you belong with me, my sweetheart.
Tonight, 97.1 FM Talk is bringing you football. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs take on the LA Chargers. Listen live tonight with kickoff at 7:15. 97.1 FM Talk.
Michael's Flooring Outlet online at igotfloor.com. Go give them a look-see there on their website. I'm going to pull it up here while we are talking. If you're looking for flooring and you want to start your purchase process online and do a little shopping, a little browsing, when you pull up the Michael's Flooring Outlet website at igotfloor.com, you are going to be able to go through all of their different products, whether it's carpet tile, hardwood, laminate, regular tile, luxury vinyl, waterproof flooring. That's what my family needs in my house. Vinyl, natural stone, glass tile. You can go through all of these different products and see the different finishes that they have and understand the amazing selection that you will get when you're shopping at Michael's Flooring Outlet. It includes the Mohawk Smart Strand if you're looking for the carpet line that is top tier. A fantastic product and available for you at Michael's Flooring Outlet. But they pair all of this inventory with a great staff that can help you through navigating this purchase and amazing quality and value. It's all at Michael's Flooring. They have multiple locations. You can learn more about that online. You can find it at igotfloor.com.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you may be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com. That's getrefunds.com.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is without any inspections or need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-782-8000 or at chrisbuyshomeSt.Louis.com and get your or cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay their rent apartment. Google Chris buys homes in St. Louis. That's Chris buys homes in St. Louis. And check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And get the offer you have been waiting for. Chris Buys Homes in St. Chris Buys Homes in St. or call 314-782-8000.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I was walking down the street the other day.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
See your face. Oh wait, that's someone else. Trying to play it coy, trying to make it disappear. But just like the Battle of Troy, there's nothing settled here. In my room there's a king-size space, bigger than it used to be. If you want, you can rent that place. Call me an amenity. Even if it's in my dreams.
This legislation marks a substantial step toward dismantling the systemic racism that plagues our communities, our state, and our nation, and brings us closer to true safety, true fairness, and true justice.
Oh my gosh, Governor Pritzker there talking about the Safety Act, which we are going to be covering quite a bit. It is a national news story, but it is a local story for us as we sit here just in this moment, just west of the Mississippi River, looking out over Illinois, where cash bail is going away as of January 1st of this coming year. And it's the brainchild of Governor Pritzker. What has he done to improve the situation for Illinoisans? Nothing, which is why they're fleeing the state. Somebody who has identified this and is looking, along with other races across the country, to defeat people like J.B. Pritzker. We welcome Jon Schweppe to the show. He's the director of policy at the American Principles Project, and he's here with us today. Jon, thank you for your time today. We're grateful for it.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
So talk to me. I'm going to give you the floor here to explain what your American Principles Project is doing, the investment that they're making, and how it might affect Illinois as this midterm approaches.
Yeah, well, we've built this group that we, kind of refer to as the NRA for the family. We want to build a political giant that comes into these races and injects these cultural issues and really runs ads on those types of issues. And so we have announced a $10 million plan in 6 states, including Illinois, by the way, which is, I could tell you both Terry Schilling, our president, and myself were both from Illinois. So we were pretty gung-ho for coming in there. But we're going to be talking about the effort in schools to sexualize kids. We're going to be talking about Democrats' effort to sterilize children and push them into these sex changes. We're going to talk about women's sports and critical race theory in the classroom and all these different issues because we've found in our testing and our polling that voters, Democrats, independents, and Republicans alike all care about this stuff. And they're really upset with the left for how far they've gone on all of these things.
I am so grateful for that. I live in Illinois, in southwestern Illinois myself, and it seems hopeless at times. And I'm not sure which part of Illinois that you or your colleague come from, but being a Southern Illinoisan, which is a very broad term depending on where one originates from in Illinois, you feel you go the way of what it appears to be the corrupt woke left. They just have unfettered access to power. There's corruption. It seems hopeless. The American Principles Project, it seems to me, thinks that maybe there is some hope, especially with these issues in this election. Tell me about the state of Illinois, Governor Pritzker, and the direction this state has headed and will continue to head if individuals like J.B. Pritzker continue to be at the helm.
Yeah, well, we've found, and this might surprise people, but we've found that he's incredibly vulnerable this election cycle. It's not a done deal. I know we've kind of gotten to the point where it feels like Illinois is a blue state. But, because of his, I would say, COVID fascism and because of all these other issues and how crazy he's been, he's really outraged, especially people downstate. And just so you know, me and Terry, we are from the Quad Cities, so kind of a mini Cook County amidst the rest of downstate Illinois. But and so we do believe that there's a chance there, and we wanted to take advantage of that. And also, in the effort long term, we want to show Illinois Republicans. I think a lot of us were disappointed with Bruce Rauner. Recognizing that, he didn't really believe that we should run on cultural issues or social issues and govern that way. He was, and ultimately, I think that resulted in a pretty big failure for him. And ultimately, I think people are very concerned about what's going on in their schools. They want to, be able to raise their kids in a community that's safe, where they can trust that when other adults are with their kids, they're not trying to drag them down, these really nasty roads. And I think we can get back to that. And so that's kind of our hope. This is a strategy for this election cycle, obviously, in all 6 of the states we're in. And I'm hoping we can still add a couple more. But it's a long-term strategy as well. We believe these states can continue to swing red.
So I'm looking at AmericanPrinciplesProject.org, and I see where people can go and look up information about your project, and there's resources provided for your PAC, but there's also a big red button up here that says donate. And I'm going to tell people that because when I see people willing to take action in the state of Illinois to get us back on track, I want to support those people. That's why we're having Jon Schweppe on the show right now. That's why I'm talking to you about the American Principles Project. I spend a lot of time with candidates, with organizations, with, county Republicans groups, John, and these are people who they go to the same events. They are pushing, they're praying, they're working to try to make a difference. And then there's this other group of people who I hear through my radio show, and they're saying to me, is there hope, Annie? Is there a possibility that this could ever change? And if so, what is it that I can do? Do you have an answer to that question, John?
Yeah, look, I'll tell you, sometimes I get a little bipolar on the question of is there hope, because that's pretty natural, right? And especially working, I work out here in D.C. with congressional Republicans, and I will tell you, congressional Republicans are very frustrating sometimes. So there is that reason to be frustrated. But, I think we're entering into a new era. And, Donald Trump really led the way in 2016 with that. He kind of changed the Republican Party for the better. And I don't think this is the party of Mitch McConnell going forward. I think this is a party of, new, exciting candidates, people like J.D. Vance in Ohio and Blake Masters in Arizona. And these are people who are thinking differently and are thinking about an America First agenda. And so, going forward, we're pretty optimistic. I think, if we can win this year, get some seats in the Senate and the House, take control, and then, going into 2024, if we can get a good presidential candidate, whether that be President Trump again or whether it be someone like Ron DeSantis, I think we can still turn this country around for the better. The woke left is so unpopular, Annie. I think that's what people don't understand is that, they're underwater on everything when you look at the polling. And it's not out of the question that we could have a Reagan-style revolution. We just have to be committed and do the work and not just assume the red wave is coming, but actually go out there and earn it. And I think we'll be successful.
So speaking with Jon Schweppe right now, he's the Director of Policy at the American Principles Project. What does a donation to the American Principles Project do?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, this stuff, our ads is a big deal. Now that comes out of our PAC. But we are running almost, it's going to be $10 million worth of ads in these target races. So we're talking, yes, in Illinois, but also in key governors races like the Michigan governor's race between Gretchen Whitmer and Tudor Dixon, also some of these Senate races. So that's one side of it. The other side, though, is that we are a lobbying group. We do work in politics directly, both at the state level and federal. So all those women's sports bills that we're passing across the country, we had a hand in a lot of that. And we're working at the federal level to make sure that, the Republicans have an agenda going into next year. Let's pass a women's sports bill out of the House. Let's pass a 15-week abortion bill. Let's do all these different things and really try to articulate that this is, we have to have these cultural sites. We have to defund critical race theory and all these different things. So what we do is the political side in a lot of ways helps us with the lobbying side because these politicians know we mean business. And that's because of, folks like your listeners contributing to us, helping to build us up to be this, socially conservative pro-family cavalry.
Jon Schweppe, the Director of Policy at the American Principles Project. Just one more question before we go, just to reiterate for people who are specifically here in the state of Illinois listening right now, you're saying 54 days from now, there's an opportunity for a significant sea change in the state of Illinois.
Yeah, I believe so. It's going to be tough. I mean, obviously, Illinois is not an easy state, but if it is a true red wave, even Illinois could be in play. But I think the thing we have to do is we have to recognize that what that's going to take is everyone getting out on the weekends and door knocking. It's going to take phone banking. It's going to take, giving maybe a little bit more than we wanted to. And, if we can do this, I think in a state like Illinois, it's a longer project. Even if we don't win this year, I don't think that's necessarily over, but we have to build up the infrastructure and continue to make these arguments and continue to whittle down the support for Democrats. And especially in Chicago, this, but the Democrats have failed their constituency in Chicago for a long time. And it's really got to be about kind of getting to those voters and recognizing that there is a different way. And I think we'll be able to be successful over the long term.
Yeah, I keep saying it. Folks, it doesn't have to be this way. We actually have a choice and we got to get out and work for it. Thank you, Jon, for the time today. I appreciate what you're doing and I look forward to connecting with you again as we get a little bit closer here to this midterm election.
Looking forward to it, Annie. Thank you.
Absolutely. Jon Schweppe, the Director of Policy at the American Principles Project. Seriously, go online to AmericanPrinciplesProject.org and learn more about them, study them, see if it aligns with your values. And if you appreciate what they're doing, get involved. Be a part of the solution that you would like to see. Let's take a quick break. Reminder about the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll today. I'm going to tell you when we come back why this is the YouTube live chat poll today. Is marriage valued in today's society? Yes or no? Brad's a pastor. I'll ask you. You marry people. I mean, you've married one person yourself.
Yes.
But
I've performed wedding ceremonies.
You have united people in holy matrimony. Tell us what you think. And also leave comments as to why you voted the way you did. But also, I'm looking for marriage advice from folks, especially people who feel like they've seen some things or learned some things. Share it with us. Would love to feature some of that a bit later in the show. Don't go away. Back in a minute.
Bad liar. I see how your tension builds. It's like looking in a mirror.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Pay my kiss across your chest. If you're the art, I'll be the brush.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Tom Haney. January 1st, inmates suddenly become subject to the Safety Act. Approximately half of them are charged with offenses that the criminal code will make non-detainable, so they'll have to be released.
How is this even possible that this happened?
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
One way to do business is that if you have a commodity that is in high demand, is to charge as much as you can possibly get for it. That is the luxury car market right now. But this is the best advice I'm going to give you all day, because if you're looking for a luxury vehicle, Genesis of St. Charles is not doing that. They have never done that, and they haven't changed the way they've done business just because they do have a hot commodity right now with the inventory that's out there. You can find what you need with Genesis of St. Charles. And if you're not familiar with Genesis, check them out at genesisofstcharles.com. I think you'll like what you see. I got to drive one, and it's everything as advertised. It is a fantastic vehicle, multiple models to choose from there. And again, you will never pay over MSRP at Genesis of St. Charles. They are located in the St. Charles Hyundai showroom, part of the St. Charles Automotive Campus, just a quarter mile east of Mid Rivers Mall. Very easy to get to on Veterans Memorial Parkway. They make amazing things happen. And again, this is all for your benefit. Walk in, you know what you're going to pay. Make it as easy as possible. Visit them at genesisofstcharles.com.
Updating your home with James Hardie Siding has never been more popular. With all the options available, you need a partner to ensure you maximize your investment. Siding Express is ready to refresh the appearance of your home or totally transform the look by installing Hardie shake, board and batten, lap siding, or a stone accent to make it your dream home again. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor. They also carry Anderson and Marvin windows and doors. Need ideas? Go to sidingexpress.com and schedule a free, no-obligation consultation today. sidingexpress.com.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here. It's one in, one out.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out, so please visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Right now is the perfect time to call Zero Res to deep clean and refresh your carpets, air ducts, upholstery, and more. Call 314-474-2020. Get the Mark Reardon special. 3 rooms, Zero Resified, starting at $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. 474-2020.
Mark Cox here. I hope you can join me for the 7th annual Customer Appreciation Day at the Range St. Louis West. It's coming up Saturday, September 17th. I'm going to be live there. They're going to have free shooting lanes. The St. Louis Kolache factory will be there providing food. They've got great sales all day long and a chance to win a membership or maybe a Sig Sauer P320. Again, 14803 Manchester Road in Baldwin. Stop and see us or go online to therangestl.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. In addition to heating and cooling, Air Comfort Service also offers indoor air quality, water heater, and AeroSeal duct sealing services. Get in your comfort zone with aircomfortservice.com.
Information to keep you moving. Dependable traffic mornings and afternoons with Sue Thomas. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
Somebody that I don't know, but you're taking shots at me like it's Patron, and I'm just like, damn, it's 7 a.m.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Like, hey, are you okay?
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. I'm trying to find a comprehensive article on this information coming out right now about Brett Favre. Brett Favre, and was it the Mississippi governor? Former Mississippi governor?
Yes. That's what the Chiron said.
So apparently there was some sort of inappropriate exchange of funds for a volleyball stadium that Brett Favre was involved in. And they have text messages between the two of them. And it's Brett Favre texting the former governor of Mississippi. I'm going to get like the actual report as soon as I can find one here that I feel comfortable relying on. But the text messages says, is there any way the media can find out that you're giving me this money? And the response is no. Unfortunately, that was just reported on by the media. Do you have a story?
I do not.
Okay. Well, we'll keep looking at it. Who needs to know how Meghan Markle is doing during the Queen's 10-day long mourning period? There's so much reporting on this. Who's worried about this? The lead story on Fox News yesterday was something to the effect of Harry terrified that Meghan will leave him alone at funeral. And I'm like, this is the leading story in America today. I guess it's a good day in the news. Man, I can't handle any of it. It is incredibly not important. It couldn't possibly be less important. To me, at least. I don't know who it is important to. You finding a story yet?
Yeah, I'm going to put one in the chat for you.
Brett Favre got help from Mississippi governor to get volleyball complex built using welfare funds. Maybe it says in here, like, what is Brett Favre's worth? There's been a new development on the ongoing Mississippi civil lawsuit regarding Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre, who's allegedly involved in a welfare fraud case. Text messages entered the case on Monday, which shows former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant pushed for a volleyball complex to be built at the University of Southern Mississippi using the welfare money, a project the Green Bay Packers legend was heavily invested in. According to Mississippi Today, Favre's daughter played volleyball at USM. Bryant texted Favre about how to draft a funding proposal that he was pushing on Nancy New, a nonprofit founder who pled guilty in April to misusing public money. Attorneys for New's nonprofit were the ones who sent in the text messages. Quote, can we help with his project? End quote. Brian asked New in July 2019 about Favre's volleyball complex at the school. Quote, we should meet soon to see how I can make sure we keep your projects on course. Bryant reportedly told Favre that he would, quote, handle the funds being made available despite there being a new director of the Mississippi Department of Human Services. As Bryant let John Davis go, at least $5 million worth of state funds were raised for the new volleyball stadium at the university, and Bryant denied any involvement in it for years. The guilty plea came on 13 felony counts related to the scheme, which misspent at least $77 million in funds, according to Mississippi Today. While Davis awaits trial for his role in it, Bryant and Favre have both yet to be charged with a crime. New has been aiding prosecutors as part of the plea deal. Also, there is also the $1.1 million welfare contract that the messages show was given to Favre to promote the USM program.
Yuck.
Quote, I could record a few radio spots and whatever compensation would go to USM. Favre had texted New. Texts show that Favre was also worried that the media could find out about where the funding was coming from. The name of the welfare program is the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. Favre reportedly received money from them in 2017 and 2018, and while he has repaid that money, he has not repaid the $228,000 in interest demanded by a Mississippi state auditor, according to NBC News. Man, I don't know about you, but I would just pay that $228,000 and apologize.
Yeah, profusely.
Yeah. I need to know, like, what I'm thinking is, is there a way that Brett Favre was involved in this and he didn't really know the impropriety of what he was doing? And then I see a text message from him that says, is there any way the media can find out? And then I'm like, if you had that in your gut, you should have just taken the pass on it.
If you're not sure, if you have to ask that question, the answer is yes, they can find out. So no, don't do it.
Are you the type of person, Brad, that let me rephrase. I am the type of person that if I'm doing something and I'm worried that somebody's going to find out that I did it, even if it's not necessarily wrong, that maybe I could defend it and said thing maybe wouldn't be liked by other people, but maybe wouldn't inherently be wrong. I just want to avoid that altogether.
Right. I'm on the same boat. And as a matter of fact, I've always felt like I'm the kind of person that if I did anything wrong,
it's gonna be
I'm the
found
one that's
out.
going to get caught.
100%.
Like growing up, if I was in the general area of somebody doing something dumb and I didn't try to stop it somehow or another, I would get wrapped up in it.
Samesies. Absolutely. I think that makes us goody two shoes.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm not. Yeah, same. Yes, here I am. It is an incredibly boring existence.
If you could be a goody two shoes and stay out of jail, hey.
I don't know enough of the context of Brett Favre and his character. He's the type of guy who I would like to think is kind of a good old boy, very successful, obviously a very successful football player, kind of, to me, represents a little bit of Midwesternism, being from, I don't know that he's from Wisconsin, but being at Wisconsin, I would identify him with the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I really want to see this. So I feel like maybe he's somebody who I'd give the benefit of the doubt to, but I don't know that he really deserves that.
Yeah, I don't now. Like, yeah, he never struck me as somebody that was like sketchy, that would do sketchy things. But now I'm like, oh, maybe he is.
Well, the verdict's still out. He hasn't been charged with a crime yet.
Yeah.
But again,
it's the text message.
And this is the court of public opinion. This isn't the court.
Yeah.
So if you're going to, like I said before, if you're going to be sending text messages that question whether or not you should be doing this, or your worried nature, if somebody in the media were to find out, maybe just don't do it.
Just don't do it. Exactly.
We will stay very close to the story. And I just ran to the cafeteria to get a Diet Mountain Dew. I would have gone to our office, but it was too far and I needed to get back.
We just have cans in there right now.
Oh, okay. Well, good. And I walked past the TV and it says Mississippi Favre and Mississippi governor. And I was like Brett Favre?
Yeah.
What? So that was a rapidly developing situation. Today's YouTube live chat poll: is marriage valued in today's society? Yes or no? I said I was going to ask you about this, Brad. As a pastor yourself who has performed wedding ceremonies, and you were married, of course, so am I. I'm curious what you think, if marriage is valued in today's society, yes or no?
I'm going to say no.
No?
Yeah. But I will say this. I think it's turning around. I think that the attitude toward marriage is turning around. I just don't think the people that understand that they've oriented themselves toward marriage have actually oriented themselves toward marriage. And it has a lot to do with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. People are out there talking about how we need to have some sort of institution that forces the man to stay with the wife and all this other stuff. And it's like, yeah, we should like force them to enter into some sort of binding agreement.
Let's put our heads together.
Yeah, what could we call it? But that's, to me, that attitude shows me that people weren't really all that concerned with what marriage is or what marriage is about, or they didn't even know what it was that they were railing against, and they devalued it. And now we're starting to find out we're reaping the benefits, the consequences of our actions, and we devalued marriage. So marriage wasn't important. Now we're looking at society saying, why is it falling apart? And it's like, well, we've destroyed one of the main institutions that kept society functioning well.
I wish that marriage would be taken out of the hands of the government for everybody.
I agree.
I wish that the government would recognize civil unions from consenting adults, two people, and I wish that churches would institute marriage.
Yes, I agree.
The civil union and any tax benefit or any sort of rights that a committed party has to one another, government. The oath that you're making to another person in front of and with God, in my Christian faith, should be left strictly up to the church with which I want to engage in marriage.
I agree with that 100%. I don't know why marriage is even like why the government was ever brought into it to begin with. It's just something that confuses me because it does. It becomes less about an agreement between two couples that are going to love one another and take themselves, and advance their lives and build their lives together. And it becomes more of a contract and legal and I don't know am I trying to say like sanitary?
Well, we were talking earlier about, two people talking about abortion. And if one person thinks that abortion or that life begins after the baby is completed its birth, and another person thinks that abortion or that life begins at conception, you can't have an agreement on when an abortion is okay because you don't agree on what you're talking about to begin with. People have conversations about marriage in the government contract sense, and people have conversations about marriage in the biblical sense. Split them up. And then if you have issues, you can discuss them on the terms that are agreeable. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, everybody back in studio. Get your vote in on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. Back in a minute.
Frederick Roofing, wherever you live from. All of them to Ellisville, to Pear and Jennings, O'Fallon to Overland, wherever you live. Maryland Heights to Manchester, the name you know. Frederick Roofing, wherever you go. For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof. Frederick Roofing.
St. Louis, Missouri, 314-645-2000.
Frederick is the gold standard for roofing and perhaps priced a bit lower than other bonded and insured roofers. When you invest money into fixing a hole in your roof or putting on a whole new roof, you want the peace of mind that you'll get only with Frederick Roofing. Plus, you can always depend on an immaculate cleanup when the job has been completed by Frederick's own licensed and insured crews.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof. Frederick Roofing. Frederick Roofing, 645-2000.
At Fountains Family Dentistry.
This is Andy Berg, board-certified master arborist with Hanson's Tree Service. Maintaining healthy trees in our urban environment is a challenge, and our trees often don't perform how we'd like. Go to hansonstree.com to find out how we can service your trees today.
This is Wiggins. I talk about Fountains Family Dentistry and the fact that they're open late and open early on certain days. That's to accommodate your schedule. One thing I don't mention enough is that they will get you in quickly. I actually had to call them because my kindergartner, his records were just barely out of date. And I went, oh, I can't believe we barely missed the date. So we had to call them, got them in on Monday that quick. That's how fast they can get you in at Fountains Family Dentistry. So give them a call by going to fountainsfamilydentistry.com. That's the easiest way to type it in your phone and get their phone number. You can make an appointment right there online, or you can call and talk to them. I always like to do that just because I like to at least explain the situation. Okay, here's why I'm calling last minute. That's very nice to do, and they're always very accommodating and nice to you. They'll deal with your insurance, or they'll deal with your lack of insurance. Whatever situation you find yourself in, they will help you. Fountains Family Dentistry is in Fairview Heights, Illinois, right off of Highway 64. And if you're coming from Collinsville, right as you enter Fairview Heights, you go to fountainsfamilydentistry.com.
Attention veterans. If you were stationed at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you and your family may be victims of toxic water poisoning. Cancers, birth defects, deadly illnesses have all been linked to the contaminated water. Congress is now holding the government accountable. You could be awarded financial compensation for your suffering, but you must act now. Visit sickvets.com for your free case review by True Law. That's sickvets, like veterans.com. sickvets.com. Visit sickvets.com.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The
White House calls it a political stunt. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre a short time ago slamming Republican governors who've been sending migrants to Democrat-led cities.
They're using people. They're using desperate people who are trying to come here because they're fleeing communism themselves as a political pawn. And it's horrific and it's shameful.
This after 2 buses sent by Texas, including immigrants from Venezuela, arrived early today outside the vice president's residence as she continues to say the border is secure. Jean-Pierre says the administration is working to fix a broken system with steps including more immigration judges.
We understand that we have work to do. We understand that. And we have been doing the work to do that.
She also says immigrants sent to Martha's Vineyard were misled about where they were going and what to expect. The Texas governor says he'll keep busing out migrants to offer relief to his own border cities, calling the administration's policies reckless and failing. The White House just confirming that President Biden will meet tomorrow with loved ones of 2 Americans jailed in Russia, Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan. But the White House also says there are no breakthroughs to report on winning their release, urging Russia again to accept a U.S. offer that's been on the table for months. Mississippi's governor just announcing a boil water notice is lifted in the capital city, Jackson, nearly 7 weeks after the state health department found cloudy water that could make people ill. That was followed by flooding, compounding the problems at the main water treatment plant, where emergency repairs continue. Amtrak working to help passengers get plans back on track now that a freight rail strike, also impacting some commuter lines, is averted after marathon talks.
In fact, the negotiators here today, I don't think they've been to bed yet.
President Biden earlier today thanking both sides for negotiating in good faith. The tentative deal still needs approval. America is listening to Fox News.
Dell Technologies' semi-annual sale has arrived, and it's time to upgrade to the latest business technology. Save big on laptops and desktops with Windows 11 Pro. Plus, get amazing deals on server, storage, and cloud solutions, as well as top work accessories, including docks, monitors, and more. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL for special business offers during our semi-annual sale.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Our high temperature this afternoon, much like yesterday, hovering around 85 degrees, plenty of sunshine, still pretty comfortable to be out there, even though these are above average temperatures. Tonight, partly cloudy, 59. Friday, sunny and 88. Good looking weekend coming up. Any rain should stay well to our north. Saturday, sunny and 89. Same story on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk, Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hey everyone, it's Mark Reardon, and 97.1 FM Talk has some very, very cool new merch for you to check out. In partnership with our friends at Whiskey Dickerson Small Batch Outfitters, we've created new t-shirt designs for the Mark Cox Show, Annie Fry Show, and my show, The Mark Reardon Show. All you have to do is go to 971talk.com/merch to pick your show and your size. My show, of course. That's 971talk.com/merch.
Looking to buy or sell a home on the Illinois side of the river? Look no further than Jen Teskey. Jen is wonderful. She knows the environment on the east side of the river like nobody else. She's with Remax Alliance. And I'm telling you what, if you are looking to sell your home, even if you're just thinking about maybe selling your home on the east side of the river, please call my friend Jen Teskey. Why? Because I was just talking to her yesterday about the huge amount of buyers that she has just waiting maybe to buy your home. So if you're just considering it, why not call her? You can text her right now. She can run numbers on your house, give you an idea of what you might be able to get for it. And listen, she's got the buyers in the bag right now. 618-541-1010. That's how you get a hold of Jen Teskey. That's how you get the questions answered. And you don't have to be like, I'm selling my house and I want to sell it now. It can kind of just be a thought in your head. You have a conversation with somebody who knows the business, and maybe you'll be on the way to a pretty sweet paycheck. Give her a call. Give her a text. Tell her you heard about her on the Annie Frey Show. 618-541-1010. That's 618-541-1010.
Furnished by Finish Line Tax Solutions.
If you're getting letters from the IRS, call us immediately. The IRS is the only entity in the country that can seize assets without a court order. If you call us in time, then we know where they're at and we can intervene before anything damaging occurs. If you don't deal with your IRS problem, then they're going to take your paycheck, they're going to drain your bank account, and they may even take your house.
Call for your free tax relief information now. 800-801-4950. 800-801-4950.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
People are driving from all over to take advantage of Diamonds Direct's incredible finance offer. For a limited time, you can make any purchase and spread your payments over 5 years with zero interest. Imagine that $4,000 pair of diamond stud earrings for just $68 a month. That $10,000 designer ring for just $168 a month. With this offer, you don't have to compromise. But hurry, this is a limited time offer. 5 years, zero interest. Start your forever with Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Get details at diamondsdirect.com. Approved credit.
Summer bonanza means more business in the fall months? Hire right with Indeed. Their integrated solution lets you schedule and conduct video interviews all in one place. Finding your next great hire has never been this easy. Get hiring at Indeed.com/credit.
How might this week's big stories impact your portfolio? Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale with Stifel. Join me and fellow Stifel financial advisor Eric Robert during On the Money every Saturday from 11 till noon right here on 97.1 FM Talk. Stifel, member NYSE and SIPC.
The features you always dreamed of are here. We're talking about rewinding the radio. Listen on the Odyssey app and rewind whenever you'd like. Or catch up on entire shows within 24 hours of air.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Are we on? Is this how this works? I'm busy. I have
Whoops.
things to do.
Hello.
Important things to do. Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Today's YouTube live chat poll. Is marriage valued in today's society? Yes or no? Brad was just saying, your answer was no, right?
Yeah, I don't think society values marriage. I think that society should value marriage, but they don't.
Okay. Ryan is back in studio with us here, and I'm going to ask him about that question in just a second. You can go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, and you see us live right there. When you pull up the live broadcast that's taking place right now in the chat section, the live chat section, that's where the poll is. You can vote, and then you can leave a comment as to why. Ryan, what do you think? Society valuing marriage today?
No, I don't think so really at all. I think we've never valued marriage less. To me, you have to know what marriage is to value it. And it has become, I think you guys hit on this a little bit. It has become basically a government contract. And that's not, God invented marriage. It's a covenant. So that's different than a contract. And we've gotten away from, we used to understand that, or at least have a general understanding of that. We've completely gotten away from that. So I say no.
I would say, though, I would challenge that. And as somebody who does believe that marriage is a covenant with God, my husband, God, and myself, that's not what marriage is for everybody, though. And if other people don't have God in their life, that doesn't, in today's society, like, that doesn't eliminate the ability for them to be married.
No, you can still be married, but to me, then what you're doing is you're doing something that's similar. So it's in the same pattern as what marriage is, but you could call it something different because marriage is intended to be a covenant. And if it's not a covenant, then it's not really marriage. We've abused the name so much. But that's my answer, is that That's why I'm saying no, is that it's become something else.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I would say that is a perspective that I think a lot of people who are listening would absolutely agree with. But I mean, in the context of this conversation, Brad, you were pastor. Do you believe that the concept of marriage in today's world exists outside of religion?
A concept of it. I don't think that it's a good concept of it, because if I think
Fair, but still.
Yeah, the idea that you don't need God to get married and that you don't need to bring God into a marriage to get married. Yeah, but like I said, it's not the same thing as much as people want it to be. And I do believe that like two people could approach it, and like Ryan, you're saying it's a covenant. They could approach it with that attitude of, we're going to approach this like a covenant, and we're going to, make this thing work. And they're going to do everything that they can. They do it without invoking God. They can do all of the things that would make
I would agree with that.
a great Christian marriage, a great Christian marriage, and it just not be
Christian
labeled God
or
God
faith-based.
honoring. Right.
Yeah. Like I say this all the time. I think it's important for people when you're, trying to advocate for pro-life purposes, that not everyone, lots of people on both sides of the aisle consider abortion a religious issue. It absolutely can be a religious issue, but I don't think it has to be a religious issue. If your morality stems from your religious faith, then it is a religious issue for you. Like a lot of things, basically everything in my life is a religious issue for me, because I make and fail at making, but try to make the foundation of my life and how I act and behave based on my Christian faith. Now, for me, my Christian faith also dictates that I am a broken, messed up, screwed up person that needed somebody to come in and fill in the many, many breaks and cracks in the surface that I have created in my brokenness. And I have that. That's Christ, which is what makes me a Christian. It's not to say at all that in any way, shape, or form that I'm perfect, but I can have a moral understanding of earthly good and evil, or right and wrong, that could be in parallel with somebody who has no Christian faith. And I think you could still agree on the good things and the bad things, but your foundation would be different.
Yeah, I think that's an important distinction to make too, is that when we're giving our opinions, there are opinions. And even though I think all of us in this room would say, like you said, Annie, all things really are religious issues when you come down to them.
Well,
for us,
for me,
right?
I'm not even speaking for you or for Brad. I'm talking for me, and that's
well, I would agree.
But I wouldn't say that marriage in today's society is a religious institution. My view of it, my marriage is 100% a religious institution, but I don't feel like I can go into the public and judge other people's marriages on the foundations with which my marriage is put together, if those values aren't part of theirs, and to say that theirs doesn't exist because it doesn't follow my moral structure.
Yeah. That my expectation, even though I'm a Christian and I'm living that out to my best ability in my marriage, to this question particularly, my expectations of somebody who doesn't believe in God, that doesn't mean that I'm saying they're not married or they're not doing a marriage.
That's what it kind of sounded like you were just saying, that if it's not a Christian-based marriage, that it's not a marriage.
I'm saying that if it was formed by God, then a lot of people can participate in something that's formed by God, but not acknowledge that God made it. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a covenant, but I think that if you're understanding that it does come from God, it came from a covenant, you're going to be able to do that better, just like a lot of other things, if you understand where it came from.
Do you think that maybe the de-emphasis of faith in a religion has played a role in it not being as important in society? Because you've removed, because if it's a Christian-based marriage,
it's a lot easier to break an oath with the person you're staring at than it is to be like that. Oh, and God.
Well, and I would say the other part of it is too, is the thing about faith in general is there's a sacred aspect to it. Whenever something's faith-based, there's a sacred aspect to it. And when you remove that faith-based aspect of it, then you also are by proxy removing that sacred aspect of it. And then to your point, like you said, it's a lot easier then to say, this isn't working for me, I want out.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't disagree with that at all. Can somebody can two people who are agnostic or atheist in their religious or non-religious life, can two people have a good marriage?
Can and have.
Yeah, you see examples of that all the time.
It seems to contradict your first statement.
Well, I think okay.
I don't know. Do you hear what I'm hearing, Brad? Or
kind of? I don't hear it quite the way you're hearing it.
So,
I see what he's trying to say, though.
So I think what I'm saying is, and let me use a little bit different example, and I won't be able to quote it exactly, but there's a verse in Romans that talks about the general revelation of going outside, enjoying a beautiful day, and understanding that there's something greater that created this. That's sort of a general, doesn't mean you really have a great understanding of it. It just means you experience that there's something greater than this. I think that is very, very much a possibility within marriage, is to understand that there's something greater here than just me and my spouse. It's sort of like a general revelation that marriage is a very unique thing. And I don't think you have to have like a deep faith to understand that, or really a faith to understand that. I think you could look around and see people accomplishing that and say, well, I want to copy that. You're not necessarily looking to God, but you're looking at a good marriage and saying, I want to copy that. Well, what you're copying are godly things, but you're not necessarily doing it because of God. Does that make sense?
Well, the poll question is marriage valued in today's society? If a secular couple can have a happy, successful marriage, then the premise of what I heard you saying in your first statement was that because we're becoming a more godless society, the value of marriage is diminished. But if I'm talking about a godless, and I don't say that pejoratively, I would assume if you consider yourself atheist, that you would, in essence, be godless. That if two of those people, like you said, can and have had good, happy, successful marriages, can we still value marriage in a society, within a community where there isn't an agreed upon religious faith? Because I can think of religions outside of Christianity that absolutely value marriage and define and restrict marriage in a way that people who do identify themselves as Christians don't define and restrict marriage. So I could see how, like, within the Christian community, you could start saying that, pushing out other different kinds of faiths.
Yeah, but the question is a matter of, do we value it? And I think, again, and this is removing faith from it completely. I think that whenever you remove something sacred from it, it loses that sacred aspect, and then it becomes something less to some people. Now, I think that what you're describing as, like, the people that, like I said, can and have, there are people out there, secular people, who have and do and are in a great marriage. I would say that doesn't necessarily, the exception necessarily doesn't disprove the rule. I would say it actually proves the rule, because as we've become more secular as a society, we've become more likely to get in divorces and engage in that. So I think that maybe the exception proves the rule. And that's not to say that you can't. I'm just saying you're less likely to.
Art says, disagree with Brad, thinking that just because a marriage isn't Christian makes it less sacred.
Yeah, I don't. So what's sacred in your life that, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you, but I see it as your perspective.
Yeah.
So I think somebody who wouldn't have a religion in their life could hold things that they deem sacred on terms that are different than yours.
Well, they might, but that sacred thing, what is that sacred thing? What does it become? Is it you? And if it's you,
I think it's for them to judge.
Yeah.
And it's for them to judge and be wrong about, just like they could look at you and say they think that you're wrong about it.
It might be for them to judge, but I mean, again, at the end of the day, I'm a Christian. I'm a pastor, and I believe in absolute truth. So he's allowed to have his opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinion. But at the end of the day, one of us is going to be right.
Sure. Oh, I'm right
you
there
tracking
with
with me?
Well, that's a weird phrase. I am absolutely of a certain perspective in mind. And for the sake of this conversation, I'm asking questions to engage the conversation. But I think that let's put it down to this. I think, and as a Christian myself, that we have devalued marriage. I think the only way to get marriage back and valued the way I wish it were to be valued is to put it in the hands of the church. Civil unions I feel as though I should be civilly united with my husband and married to my husband. I think the government should grant me the civil union that allows visitation rights through insurance that requires those types of things in the hospital, and the benefits, the tax benefits and status that goes along with being a married couple right now, that we call it married. I think that should be regarded as a civil union by the government between two consenting adults.
Yeah.
I think that religion is what you're talking about right now, is the religious aspect of marriage. And the reason why I'm asking these questions this way is because what the secular world is talking about with marriage is not what you're talking about. It's not what Ryan's talking about.
Right.
You guys are talking about marriage in the sense of what it means to you in your faith-based world, in your faith-based reality and perspective, that foundational thing that exists in your life. And that is good and right. You can't have a conversation about marriage in a culture that is secular and have some people referring to civil unions and some people be referring to religious beliefs that are instilled, rightfully so, in your religion, which is exactly why I think that they should be separated.
Well, and so to your point, some people talk about it being a civil union and the question being, do people value it? I think that people look at a civil union and they look at it and they say, it's not worth my time. Because whenever you get...
I don't think you can make that statement about...
Well, I would say that's why, if that's what people are looking at it and people aren't getting married like they used to, then there's a reason.
I think there's actually a lot of people who spend their lives, parallel lives, living together and doing all the things that used to come after marriage. They spend their time doing these things and they get civilly united specifically for the benefits that come along with the steps.
Right. And there's a lot of people who don't, because they look at the benefits of it and they say, you know what, I'm living my parallel life with this person. Why should I change anything? Because if this doesn't work out, then I don't have to give up half of my stuff. Our stuff is already separated.
Well, because the benefits, the governmental benefits they've deemed in that situation outweigh the risks.
And that's what I'm saying. So now we're talking about marriage as less of a partnership and more of a contract. And I don't think people value contracts as much as they do, as they used to. When you look at marriage, I don't know.
But marriage is a contract.
Yeah, in a way.
Well, it certainly is. I mean, but it's a contract, and for all three of us in here with our spouses, it's a religious institution.
Well, now, as we're talking about marriage, when you say marriage is a contract, if you're talking about civil unions, yes. But if you're talking about a religious marriage, then no, it's what Ryan said. It's a covenant.
Which is why you need to separate them.
Right.
My point.
No, nobody's arguing that point. I agree with you.
Well,
100%
I'm trying to 100% make my point.
Yeah.
So that everybody who's listening, my questions here are specifically to highlight how differently people speak about the institution of marriage. And if what I want to do is protect the institution of marriage as my faith and as my church recognizes it in the way that they believe that their Bible defines it, or their religious source defines it, that they should have the religious freedom to do that. Guess what? You are going to be able to get a civil union from the government and a marriage from the church. There are plenty of churches who recognize all sorts of different kinds of marriages. You can still do that. But the biggest fear that I have moving forward is the idea that the government is going to try to consume marriage as a religious institution. And I think the way to protect it is to separate it.
It is really important to define it like you're talking about, because this one included with so many arguments, it's because we're using the same words and they don't have the same meanings.
Yeah.
And that we never really get anywhere. I mean, in this room, we kind of have that understanding. But when you have these arguments outside of this, or in our chat, for instance, I mean, people will come at many different points and say, well, I disagree because of that. Well, it's because we never really agreed on what the definition was to begin with.
Again,
yeah, it's like
that's my whole point.
I'm agreeing with
that's
you.
And that's what we start out
talking
about the show with.
Yes.
We can't ever get to a solution until we agree on an agreement of terms. I think that's actually part of a debate. Like if you go into a formal debate, you have to agree on terms before you start the debate.
Yeah, and then you have to work from them. I wonder how many people who would, from a faith-based place, say that they believed that marriage was between a man and a woman, would oppose a civil union between two people of the same sex.
I don't think it'd be very high. I don't think there'd be a lot of people that would.
And those people would be able to go get a marriage. Like, that's
Mhm.
what I'm saying. Like, there's still churches. There are many churches. I would almost venture to say it could be. Is it a majority of churches, Brad? I don't know what your experience is. That Christian churches that would recognize same-sex marriage
I don't think it's a majority.
of like denominations.
Yeah, no,
It's
I
not?
wouldn't say that. No, I would say it's a minority of denominations. for
Actually, you know
sure.
what it is? I bet you the majority of denominations have a faction of their
Mhm.
church
You're
that
right.
would do that. People find out I'm Lutheran, and then naturally, you ELCA Lutherans out there do something that's real ELCA Lutheran-y of you, and they're like, "I didn't know you were a Lutheran." I'm like, "I'm a Lutheran Church, Missouri Synod Lutheran," which is such an LCMS thing to say. It's really nerdy. But yet here I am. Let's take a quick break. Want to get your vote and your thoughts on this poll on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat right now. Is marriage valued in today's society? Yes or no? And I want to know if you've got any marriage advice. Leave it there for us. We would love to read it. We'll be back in a minute. Don't go away.
Stop is neatly planned for a poet and a one-man band.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Homeward bound. Home where my thoughts escape.
More people are landing on 97.1 FM Talk every day.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's St. Louis's radio destination for information with perspective.
That's the only station I listen to.
97.1 FM Talk, the place for ideas.
So you have the space in your home and it is clutter. It's stuff. It's the stuff space. Maybe it's the junk drawer. What if the junk had a place? Then you wouldn't have a junk drawer, or maybe you'd have a new drawer for things to collect. Reach out to the Closet Factory at theclosetfactory.com or 314-961-4300 and talk to them about the organizational concerns and issues that you have in your home. Maybe it's in your office building. Maybe it's in your church. You need to utilize the space, the square footage that you have in that place to the best of its ability, which means you have them come in. Closet Factory will look at your space. They'll provide you with a customized storage solution that will get you on track to having a place for everything so everything can be in its place. You can reach out to the Closet Factory at 314-961-4300, 314-961-4300. Reach out to them and tell them you heard about them on the Annie Frey Show and get organized today. You are going to love what they can do for you. I certainly have loved what they've done in my house, and I can't wait to have them back for more. ClosetFactory.com.
Fantasy football leagues are won on the waiver wire, and with trades, and with savvy starter sit decisions. The Fantasy Football Today podcast will help you along the way with the best advice on how to manage your team and dominate your league. With 8 episodes per week, Fantasy Football Today is the only resource you'll need. Start sit, grade the trade, fantasy cops to settle your league disputes, and so much more. Check out Fantasy Football Today, anywhere podcasts are found.
If you filed a tax extension in April, don't wait until it's too late to handle your tax issues. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm. Every year, thousands of Missourians file extensions when their taxes are due in April. But what people don't know is the extension only moves your deadline to file your return, not to pay your taxes. So if you didn't pay anything back in April, you could now owe taxes plus interest plus penalties. You think you bought yourself time, but really you've just added to the total bill. If this sounds like you, call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. I am a local tax attorney with an A+ BBB rating, and I will meet with you right away to help handle your tax problems quickly. The deadline to file your return after an extension has already passed, so call the Lance Drury Law Firm now before it's too late. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. Call attorney Lance Drury, 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Dell Technologies' semi-annual sale has arrived, and it's time to upgrade to the latest business technology. Save big on laptops and desktops with Windows 11 Pro. Plus, get amazing deals on server, storage, and cloud solutions, as well as top work accessories, including docks, monitors, and more. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL for special business offers during our semi-annual sale.
If you're one of the 100 million Americans who suffer from high blood pressure, this is for you. New Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure is specially formulated for people with high blood pressure. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free and alcohol-free. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is also decongestant-free, unlike some ordinary cold medicines. So look for Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure? Medicine. Use as directed.
Learn to make money 5 ways with rental real estate. Double your money with apartments. And get your map to financial freedom. And that map starts with a free workshop. Sign up now at lifestylesunlimited.com. Click on the Join Free Workshop tab and attend online or in person. That's lifestylesunlimited.com. Lifestylesunlimited.com. Again, that's lifestylesunlimited.com. Limited seating, unlimited potential.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
It's up to you. All I can do,
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. I'm reading some of these comments here, and Hannah's going to get to some of them too here, but I'm going to read this one first. He said, so I should reset the table here. We're talking about marriage. Today's Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. You go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, in the chat section, vote. Is marriage valued in today's society? Brad and Ryan, you both said no.
I did say no.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
I am undecided.
Alrighty.
Depending on how long you've been with the station. That was like maybe the 2012 election or something. We had a promo running on the station, and there was a woman in this promo, and it like came back every freaking 2 years. And this woman would say in this promo, and it would run like every commercial break, I swear, I am undecided. And I just thought, decide already. It's been years. So every time I think the word I'm decided, I think of this. I am undecided. I hate it. So we were talking about marriage and its value in today's society. And my proposition is that we split marriage into civil unions and marriage. There are two entities. Like I would, with my husband, have a civil union and a marriage. The civil union is what the government recognizes as the contract that you have with them to be together. You file your taxes as married and whatever else comes along with that. What else is there?
Probably adoption, some things involving kids.
You don't have to be married to adopt, though.
No, but I think that custody would be related to that.
Did we already mention like what happens whenever the person dies and the inheritance and stuff like that? So like if I were to pass away, my wife gains control of my estate, or vice versa.
So that's a contractual designation.
Yeah.
So those types of things. Those things aren't faith-based things. Those are just things. And I feel like the civil union, the thing that the government recognizes in the union of two people is that type of stuff. I don't like the government even sniffing around the idea of what a faith-based institution of marriage is. So Art says on YouTube, if we do that and reframe marriage as just a religious ceremony, so I was saying marriage would be recognized by the church or any faith-based institution or whatever, and a civil union would be the thing that is recognized by the government, non-discriminatory, two consenting adults, civil union, no disparity there. If we do that and reframe marriage as just a religious ceremony, I question the word just, but I shall carry on. Then what about liberal Christian churches that marry different sexualities? Will those marriages be legitimate? Well, those are contracts in those churches with that faith foundation and God.
Right.
That's, like there are a lot of different things. You go from denomination to denomination to denomination. Baptists don't drink alcohol. Lutherans do. That's all I can say about that. Some churches don't dance. Some churches don't play cards. Some churches are very strict on those social cultural issues. Some churches aren't. But all of those things are based on that specific denomination's reading of, understanding of, and accepting of the letter of the law in the Bible, the interpretation of the Bible, the interpretation of the holiness of the Bible specifically, which is why people have the right to, and we encourage them to have freedom of religion and faith, to go pursue what it is that they believe to be true and to act on it.
Wouldn't if we did that, wouldn't the cultural battle then just shift to civil unions over who could get a civil union? Just like
I don't think there would be.
No, it would end it.
Yeah. What would be the fight?
Well, would it be the same people who can get married now would just be in civil unions?
I said 2 consenting adults.
Yep.
So, okay. But then would the battle shift to, well, what's an adult? Can we switch it to 17? Can we switch it to 16? Wouldn't there be?
I think there is a definition of adult.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just thought anything that we're dealing with marriage, which honestly, I guess isn't that much of a hot button issue at the moment.
No,
politically.
it's a very hot button issue at the moment. It's being debated on Capitol Hill now.
Well, then I guess what I'm saying is, wouldn't that debate just shift to the Capitol Hill debating what civil union would be?
No, because you would define it as 2 consenting adults.
So that ends that battle.
I'm assuming, Pastor Brad, that the argument in the political landscape that exists around marriage is that people have faith-based definitions of what marriage is, what marriage isn't, and that limits other people's abilities to access governmental benefits in the end, whether or not they can access marriage.
That was the argument that was made, yes. Because outside of that, they're like, it's discriminatory if you don't allow, same-sex couples or, whatever, 2 consenting adults. If you don't allow them to get married, they don't get any of the benefits that married people do, and that would be discriminated. Those benefits were things like visitation for a sick spouse, all of these different things. That was the argument. So what Annie is saying is you get to do that.
And this would end that argument.
Right. Yeah,
this
absolutely.
Is the solution to that argument.
2 consenting adults, you get all the benefits that a traditional marriage would have, but it's just, that's what the government recognizes. They recognize it as a civil union. You get all those benefits. And then the government doesn't come into the church and say, hey, church, you have got to marry these people so that they get these benefits, because they can just get those benefits from the government.
Separate point here, but I don't think that the political left, would agree to that, simply because they would say, well, then you're taking away the word marriage from me. I fought so hard to get the word marriage. And now you're taking it back.
But they can get married.
Yeah,
I agree. I see what you're saying, but I just think that that's where the argument would go.
But
I don't think it would go.
It doesn't have standing, because the marriage would be, if you like, another comment here is the entire conversation is disregarding it says LGBTQ plus. So I'm used to saying LGBTQ plus Christians. No, it's not. Because there are many churches, Christian churches, non-Christian places of worship that recognize same-sex marriage. And if you go to one of those churches and it's recognized, and your studying of the Bible says that that's okay. I mean, I don't believe that it is unchristian to drink alcohol. There are Christian faiths that do. One of us is right on that. One of us is wrong on it. Is it a salvation question? We'll find out. I don't think it is, but we'll find out. But I would apply that same thought to any other, put this denomination next to this denomination and say, this one believes A and this one believes B. One of these is going to be right in God's eyes and one of them is going to be wrong. That's why it's faith. You just believe what you believe based on the information you pull out of your religious source of faith. For me, it's the Bible. And if I go to a church that believes in heterosexual marriage, and I'm a Lutheran, and there's another Lutheran who goes to a church that is absolutely okay with women marrying women and men marrying men, and both people identify as Lutheran, one of us is right, one of us is wrong, but that is up to the church to determine, not a non-faith-based or governmental institution coming in and saying, this is the way it's got to be. I mean, this allows people to practice their faith without governmental pressure on the institution, but it doesn't discriminate from people who want to make that commitment to one another from accessing those governmental contractual rights that married couple, the broad sense of married as it is right now, get.
Right. It gives both parties the right to exercise their freedoms without encroaching on the freedoms and the protected liberties of the other group.
Go ahead.
Which one wins out if there is a conflict between the two? For instance, if a faith-based institution says, I am a whatever 40-year-old man and I want to marry a 15-year-old girl,
It's not
my
an
faith
adult.
says that's fine. So the state would win that, though.
Well,
the state would say no.
There
you
are already
can't.
laws on that.
Okay.
They wouldn't be part of the civil union if it didn't meet the civil union
the
standards.
state then would still be telling the religion sort of what to do there.
Well, that's talking about children.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree with the law. I'm just asking because that stuff would come up.
No, I don't know that it would. It would be against the law.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that answers the question, is that the state would then be saying there are things that the state would override the church on or the religious institution.
Well, I don't know any mainstream religions that would say that that was okay. So it would definitely be a fringe scenario that I think the law would step in. Paul says, not sure I see the validity of, quote, God-ordained marriage as opposed to the legal standard. My understanding is that marriage was facilitated by society's needs and the fact that evolutionary humans take so long to mature. A child has a better chance of surviving when at least two are present, not to mention a village. I'm going to throw this to Brad, but his understanding is a legalistic understanding of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Yours, Ryan's, mine, we haven't asked Hannah yet, is a faith-based understanding of marriage.
Well, his understanding of marriage completely disregards the possibility that faith could be an actual thing. And if you do believe that God is real and you believe that he's real as he's described in the Bible, it means he has no beginning and no end, which means that God ordained marriage because he was there before anything existed. But it completely disregards that scenario. So he is not talking about marriage, like you were saying. He's not talking about marriage in the same way that Ryan and I were talking about it. So we're using the same term, but we have different definitions.
Mm-hmm. I just, this is something that I have hit on multiple times today during the show. But when you're going to have discussions, and this is strangely right before the election, a big conversation on Capitol Hill right now. The discussion that's going to exist on the definition of same-sex marriages and their legality, and this conversation, it is a mainstream conversation. I think it's important to be equipped with you need to understand your perspective without the influence of other people coming in and saying, this is what you need to believe, or this is what our side says. And you need to be able to articulate it. And the only way you can have those conversations is if you and the person who may be in a disagreement with you understand where each other is coming from before you try to make your points. Go ahead.
I just had one other question. I saw a comment is like something to the effect of, well, what about couples would gay couples still be allowed to say that they're married? My question at the end of the day is why are you seeking validation from other organizations? So if marriage is something that everybody's saying that should be sacred, and people have pushed back on my idea that somehow, removing the religious aspect to it removes the sacred nature of it. If it's sacred to you and it's sacred to you for a reason, then you don't need my religion or my faith-based community's validation on
if your faith-based community calls it a marriage and that's important to you, then
there's your validation.
You would tell people you're married.
Right. There's your validation. You go off of that. So you don't need to, we're too concerned with grabbing what other people believe and forcing it into what we believe so that everybody feels good, because at the end of the day, what you end up with is everybody feeling bad because we're always fighting over stuff that would really, if you're confident in your faith, if you're confident in your religion, I don't need Paul's validation on my beliefs. They're my beliefs. I've arrived to them in the way that I arrived to them, and I hold to them firmly for the reasons that I hold firmly to them. And I don't need other people's validations for that. If you are confident and firm in your beliefs and your validation, then you don't need my validation. So why are you asking about the word marriage? Find the community that agrees with you and get that validation there, or understand that even if people don't look at your marriage right, that you have come to your agreement and your understanding of it and in your validation of it, and that be enough for you.
I think that my philosophy here on separating the civil union from the marriage, people might think that devalues marriage. I actually think that it increases its value because it places the emphasis on the faith for me. And for anybody else, there are a lot of people who are going to go to a church and get a marriage, and it's not going to be what we would recognize ourselves as church, but it is what it is. But I think that the emphasis on marriage being a faith-based institution, that you have to take the secular part, the civil union part out of it in order to have that fair conversation. And I do believe that two consenting adults should be able to be civilly united and have those benefits if they're willing to make the same commitment that we are. The faith part, separate conversation. Real quick before we get to a break, Hannah, you want to read a couple comments?
Yes, there's so many coming in, which is great. Bill says, marriage in today's society seems to be just another disposable relationship. But what else can you expect when God is severed from the moral fabric of our lives? Hetty from YouTube says, I value my marriage 14 years, which is a family record. Jackie from YouTube says, marriages are being attacked. Something weird is happening in marriages. People are leaving their spouses with no reason. I know many, quote, in the church where this is happening. Lori from YouTube says, for the most part, I believe marriage is valued. With some, I don't believe it is, as people get married and then of that one couple has affairs. Jackie from YouTube says, people don't work at their marriages. When it gets hard, they leave. Kurt says, I value marriage because my wife told me so.
Kurt
is a happily married man.
Kurt is a traditional husband.
Yeah, that's not traditionalist of him. I'm going to add in here, Contractor's Apprenticeship said marriage is 100% from God. We didn't invent it. I agree. Marriage. Let's take a quick break. More comments with Hannah and the results. You need to get in there and get your vote in the poll. Is marriage valued in today's society? Yes or no? On the Annie Frey YouTube live chat. Back in a second.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
The Mark Reardon Show. Tom Haney.
January 1st, inmates suddenly become subject to the Safety Act. Approximately half of them are charged with offenses that the criminal code will make non-detainable, so they'll have to be released.
How is this even possible that this happened?
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage, your easy connection to improving your financial situation. I want you to understand how easy it is to go through a bagel loan, cash out, refinance on your mortgage. Think about what you paid for your house. Think about what you owe on your house. Now think about what your house is worth. Has that equity in your home increased? I bet it has. You can tap into the equity on your home and do a cash out refinance with Stewie and knock down that credit card debt that's starting to get a little out of control. When you got 13.5% increase on all your groceries, inflation is up over 8%. Everything costs more. You might have seen it creep up on your savings and your credit card debt. Reach out to Stewie at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440 and ask him how the bagel loan can help you. Why use the bagel loan? No fees. He's not going to charge you any of those fees that everybody else out there is going to charge you for, which makes this an absolute no-brainer. And if you are making a home purchase, use the bagel loan, a super fast close, no fees. It's the right way to go. 314-324-4440. You can Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is without any inspections or need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-782-8000 or at chrisbuyshomeSt.Louis.com and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay their rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. And check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And get the offer you have been waiting for. Chris Buys Homes in St. Chris Buys Homes in St. or call 314-782-8000.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Lori Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
If you're retiring soon, join us Saturday at 9:30 a.m. for your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
At 420id.com, we make it easy to get your Missouri medical marijuana card. Dispensaries are open and inventory is in, so why wait? 420ID is the only company that provides you with a real plastic ID card and have served over 19,000 happy Missouri patients. Open late every day until 9 p.m. If we can't approve you, you pay nothing at 420id.com. Today is the day to sign up for your Missouri medical marijuana card at 420id.com. Use promo code RADIO and save $30 today. That's 420id.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
Bringing you up-to-the-minute traffic like nobody else. Sue Thomas and dependable traffic, driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
It's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey, baby, I think I want to marry you. Is it the look in your eyes?
You know, a joke here is always funny twice. It's when you get it, and then it's when Ryan Wiggins gets it. It's funny.
That's a fact. I missed the whole. Yeah, I got it about 10 seconds
So,
behind.
so
Thank
Bruno
you.
Mars is coming in, and Hannah's sitting in here, and she picks the music. Yeah, bring it up here. And I hear the start of the song, and I look over at Hannah, and I give her like the finger gun, like, I see what you did there. And she looks at me, and she finger guns back. She's like, yeah, you saw what I did there. And then 5 seconds pass, and Ryan's like, hey!
It's when he sings the line, "Hey baby, I think I want to marry you." Ryan's like, "I did it."
Marry you. He's like, did you see what Hannah just did there? That's genius.
You know what's even more embarrassing is that I saw you guys finger gunning each other, and I thought, oh, that must be a really funny little thing. Oh, did they even notice this thing, though?
What are the odds?
Wow.
The coincidence just uncanny. Man, it's a God thing.
Oh, it must be. Yeah, this is from on high. The first time that's ever been said about Bruno Mars.
Divine intervention right here in the Annie Frey Show bump music.
Wow.
I'm not kidding that I went, oh my gosh.
No.
Oh, wait, Hannah had to have
If
caught
you're
that.
He
watching
was
on the live
freaking out.
stream, I hope Anna makes this into a video so that we can put it in the social media world and you can see.
Yeah, it's real.
You can see the moment Ryan gets it.
Oh, man. I got excited, too.
Jaw dropped, eyebrows up, eyes wide open, like, oh.
Yeah. And then around the room to see if you guys had gotten it. And you guys had clearly moved on
got it.
already.
Yep.
Wow. That was a great job, Hannah.
Today is my 15th anniversary with my husband. We've been married for 15 years. Yay for us. I mean, really a round of applause for Jared. Let's just be real about this. 15 years. That seems like a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
You were 14 years? 15, same year?
15 right before you.
Same year.
Yeah.
And your birthday's tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to forget about it.
No, that is not going to be possible.
So we've been married for 15 years. That seems like a really long time. I have times as I've grown up, I've always felt like probably 15 to 20 years older than I really was. I always felt like an adult. Sometimes I acted like it, and I really needed to know my role, which you can ask my parents about when I was in high school. But I think it was around when I was 34 years old, I started to feel my age, and I was like, oh yeah, I've been 34 for 20 years. I know how to do this.
Your dad just texted me. That's very true.
Shut up. He's not texting
Darn it.
Not. And it's, as the years have passed, my husband and I got married in 2007. As the years have passed, they kind of pile up, but 15 years it seems like it's a milestone in a way. And I don't know. I'm very proud of it. I felt very proud of it. And that was kind of what the genesis of the question, is marriage valued in today's society? Yes or no? I'm going to say yes, because I do think it's valuable. I think the reason why it is valued in society today is because the things that are attacking marriage is because the parts of society that don't have what exists in a happy, successful marriage. It's a classic example of I see it. I want it. I don't have it. Therefore, instead of getting it for myself, I'm going to take it from somebody else, which means that there's value that is seen it. Maybe we don't uphold it and encourage it collectively as a society, but there is something about the institution of marriage. And for the purposes of this conversation, however you define it, we spent basically the whole hour talking about the ins and outs. And I encourage you to listen to the podcast and take in what we've talked about and leave us comments. If you can go back on the Odyssey app till about 2:05 and take in what we discussed today. But I'm going to say yes. And maybe that's just because it's my 15th anniversary today with my husband. But
well, you are always an optimist, and me and Brad are kind of pessimists. So,
all right, poll results really fast. Is marriage valued in today's society? Yes or no? With 150 votes, 68% of the people said no, it is not valued in today's society.
Well, it's not your anniversary.
And 32% of the people say yes, marriage is valued in today's society. My favorite comment that came in today, well, it's not my favorite because it's really sad, but Rala Student from YouTube, which I think is also important to highlight their username.
Yeah.
People seem to value the wedding, not the marriage. And I think in today's society, in my young Gen Z mindset, I have to agree with this comment. People seem to value the wedding more than the value of marriage.
That's
which is so sad, and I hate that.
Yes or no? Do we value marriage in society today?
In society, I'm going to say no. Do I personally value it? Hell yeah. Can I say that? Can I jump that?
No. Yeah, get rid of that.
No.
I'm not done with
Yeah.
that.
We already said yesterday that when Parker decides to get married to you, it's going to come through a scroll that I seal with a wax seal or whatever and present to you.
And he's got to approve it.
An incredibly disappointing way to get proposed to.
I'll take it.
That will not be the way it goes down. Happy anniversary to my husband. I love you. Thank you for this family you've helped me create. I'm going to go to a volleyball game tonight and hand you over to Mark Reardon.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack.